Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Hey, bitches and bros and non-binary hoes. Hello. Evening. Oh my gosh. I am so excited. I have my fingers crossed that we don't break the internet because my power went out just a little bit ago and everything was like shut down for a second. I was like, really, do not do this. And of course, it's Skate the Infinity night. We're talking about Skate the Infinity, so I had to dress the part. I had to play my most relatable character. It's not the Joker. Those of you that know, it's Shadow, of course. It's Hiromi. Has to be. Has to be. Couldn't I debated getting like Masquerade and being Adam and finding a blue wig, and I was like, nah, no, it's got to be Shadow all the way. So I hope y'all are doing great. I am so excited to talk about Skate the Infinity with y'all. This has been a fun show. This has been so good. I have absolutely loved Skate the Infinity, and I cannot wait to the preview on Twitter. I wanted to make sure with the face makeup. Thank you. I wanted to make sure with Shadow's face makeup that one, I wasn't allergic to it, because the last thing I want to do is to do Shadow cosplay and then suddenly break out into hives in the middle of talking to you all. We don't need that tonight. So luckily, that's not the case. Everything turned out great. I've not had an allergic reaction. We're great. Of course, I have to be Shadow. I have to be Hiromi. Have to be. I'm just missing like the arm pieces and stuff, and then I would have had it. Thank you all. I'm so excited to talk about Skate the Infinity with you. I cannot. This series has been so wonderful, and I've watched the dub all week. I've been going back to the episodes. I've found some today, actually, one of you, oh my gosh, on YouTube sent a link to the voice actor panels where they were doing the after show, and I watched that. So of course I have to be Shadow and come to this. So yes, we're gonna talk about Skate the Infinity. I've got like notes here to talk to y'all about. I am so excited. I could have gotten a skateboard, Digi, but I haven't had a deck since maybe 7th grade. So it's been a good long while, and I don't trust myself near a skateboard at all. I would clearly break bones. So let's talk about Skate the Infinity. Let's talk about this series. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Thank you all, first of all, for voting for this. Thank you. Those of you that voted for Skate the Infinity, because it was a gamble. Yeah. Oh, like a finger one. I should have had a fingers deck. Yeah, did you right? Thank you all for voting for this show, because honestly, I was really worried that it wasn't going to win the poll when it did, because it had just started blowing up on Twitter. It had just came out and people were talking about Skate the Infinity, and I was like, I don't know if it'll win the poll. We'll see. And then I put it on there, and y'all, like, it won by 3 votes, and I was like, oh man, this is really close. And I am so glad y'all voted for it, because honestly, it has become kind of an obsession on Twitter, kind of an obsession in the Discord. It's the fan art and everything has become kind of obsessive for me. So, and I've kind of fallen in love with this show. So thank you all for voting for it. I'm so glad I watched it, and now I need more content. I can't believe it's over. I hate that. But hopefully it's not. Hopefully enough people get on board and we get a 2nd season or more audio dramas or something. Definitely I want to talk with you all about that. So I kind of have this broken up into different parts. Yeah, petition for season 2. Let's do this. So I have this broken up into different parts. Those of you just joining, yes, I am Shadow. I am the anti-hero of the S. Absolutely. The anti-hero of YouTube here in terms of reacting. But yeah, I had to do cosplay tonight. It had to be. So I want to talk about first impressions of this series and what you all thought going into this show, because I did not know. It's one of those things where you don't really know what you thought. And it's like, what was I expecting? And some people had compared this show to Free. They were like, oh, this is the spiritual successor to Free. And I was like, I thought about it after watching this show, and I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say, I do not think this is a spiritual successor to Free. I think that this is a spiritual successor to Yuri on Ice, even though Yuri on Ice is still going. And I say that because I'm watching Yuri on Ice at the same time, because I'm working on a soapbox slowly but surely for Yuri on Ice. And this series is a very similar to Yuri on Ice in terms of it. One, it doesn't deal with high school. I mean, there's high school kids, but the setting isn't high school. We just kind of see Longa and Reki at their high school for a brief moment, and Mia there too in junior high. But it's mostly taking place in the outside world. The characters are mostly older, again, with the exception of Mia, Reki, and Longa. And it's dealing with relationships like Yuri on Ice, the relationship parallels. I'd say Yuri on Ice, and we'll talk about this in the soapbox thing, deals more with like Yuri and Victor and Yurio and Odebek and them, whereas we have like 3 or 4 different pairs in Skate. But the way that they handle relationships, the way that they handle friendships, and even skating itself, like in Yuri on Ice, the figure skating is its own, it's not repetitive because the figure skating routines evolve over time, but it's still that same formula of we're going to a rink, we're going to a tournament. It's the same way to skate. We're going to the S, we're going to a tournament, we're going to a match, that same kind of formula. So I definitely see more Yuri on Ice parallels with this show than with others, which is good because I like Yuri on Ice. And as soon as I watch this show, I'm like, But that's kind of like the first episode of this series blew me out of the water. Like the animation, the soundtrack, the voice acting, and there's some veteran voice actors on this show with the sub, especially like Cherry Blossom. I don't know. I talked about Slam Dunk back in the Jujutsu Kaisen live stream. The voice actor for Rukawa of Slam Dunk is the voice actor for Cherry, and he's like in his 50s by now. I mean, he's a veteran voice actor, and he's done a lot of voice acting with the same voice actor for Joe, which I think is very hilarious because the 2 voice actors for Joe and Cherry have worked on projects together. They have this great chemistry and banter. So they said in interviews that it's been fun getting to banter and argue with one another. I love it. So, hey, everybody, we got some of y'all in the chat here. Nice. It just got so much better. Tara, you're right. It got better as it went on. It got so much better. Like this show, one of my questions down here is like a favorite and worst episode. And when we get down to ranking the episodes, I don't really have a least favorite episode. I guess I'm going to just throw it out there and say Crazy Rock Jam's least favorite because it's just a recap. Like I'm going to take the easy way out. I'm going to throw my bomb and take the easy way out and say that 9.5 is the worst. And then we can rank the other ones. So there's that. Hello, Kitsune. Hello. And oh my God, Adam's voice actor. I just watched Phelan, a YouTube video where they do an after show talk, and Adam Sayu is on there, and he's the same guy for Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. And he said something, and Longa and Reki's voice actors were like, "Oh, are you afraid people will think that you're weird?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm weird." I'm like, I love you. So yes, yeah. I was afraid, Akani, like you said, I was afraid that this show, because people were saying at first, they're like, oh, it's kind of fluffy, and it's just like a fun, fluffy show. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought it's 12 episodes. It's going to be one of those shows where you just turn it on and it's mindless and you don't think about it. And then it's just, 30 minutes have gone by and I'm done. But no, from episode 1, I was like, there's so much to talk about. We have to talk about all these characters, about their relationships, what's going on, like how they interact. I was like having as much fun discussing this show week to week as I was like getting into Banana Fish or some other shows. I was like, this is amazing. And I'm so happy that y'all voted and we got to watch the show. And I'm hoping that I do like a mindless show every now and then, but a show that makes me think, I'm like, and gets me invested in the characters. I'm a character-driven person for sure. So if I can relate to the characters and get invested in the relationships, you sold me. So I'm hoping we get another season. That would be awesome. So I want to go through here and talk to y'all about the characters because there's so many good characters. I feel like for having as condensed of a roster as this show does, all the characters are really cool and really interact well together. So I want to talk to y'all about these characters. I'm going to start kind of with the side characters and move on up from there, obviously, because we got to save the main characters for last, right? So first of all, Oka and Murata, the Mantis Woman and our manager, Oka. And I've got down here first impressions versus now and what we could do with season 2 if we have that with them. So Oka, I was not expecting Oka. I thought Oka was just going to be like this little side character that had no part in the story. And for him to have that really cool monologue with Reki talking about being a support and being there for others. I thought that was really, really well done. And I like that Oka is kind of like secretly on the Renga agenda. Like Oka's just like, he's pushing it. He's like, oh, shouldn't you go talk to Alanga? You know, shouldn't you do this? Maybe you should talk to him, you crazy kids. I'm like, Oka, you are totally a shipper of Renga, and I am here for it. So, of course, I'm like, definitely a father figure, which is funny for Reki, because Reki's whole family is like so matriarchal. Like it's the mom, the grandma, the 3 younger sisters. There's not really a father figure for Reki except for like Joe. Joe's like a big brother or an uncle figure. I see more as that. And then obviously Oka was more like the dad figure in this show for him, which is interesting. So I know that Twitter has gone crazy. We'll talk about Shadow here in a minute. But I know that Twitter's gone crazy about the scene in episode 12 where Shadow has the plant and he's giving it to Oka. And people are like, oh my gosh, what we do? And we'll talk about like sexualities and stuff like that. But everybody but Adam's on the Renga agenda. So true. But yeah, I really hope that if we get a season 2 that Oka is more prevalent in that. That would be really cool. And if Oka and Shadow have a thing, I'm not opposed to it. I mean, we talk about, you know, orientations. I mean, Shadow is CEO sexual. Let's be real. He wants a working man or a working lady. That's Shadow's ideal person, his ideal type. And speaking of working lady, Murata, the Mantis woman, I'll be honest, I really thought in this series, and everybody has said this in the comments, I really thought that Murata would have more of a presence by the end of the series. I feel like her plot line gets derailed, and it's nothing against her. Hey, Sunflower, hello. It's nothing against her in the story. She gets promoted and gets to, you know, move to Tokyo, but she kind of just gets shoved aside. And I was like, man, girl, she was like going to have that search warrant. She was going to go into the mansion, get things done. And then they're like, nope, not today. So I really hope that if we do have a season 2, that she comes back and we see her more in the series. Like maybe she like fights her way back from Tokyo and she's like, I'm going to get this search warrant. I'm going to go undercover and sneak into your house. I think there could be so many plot change. I mean, there's so many storylines that, they could have done with her, and I think that would be fun. Yeah, Phelan, I totally forgot about her some. Yeah, the government thing got dropped really quickly. I feel like if this season had been a little bit longer, they definitely would have developed that a bit more. But my only hope is that she's not totally written out of the script, that she like claws her way back into the plot if they do a season 2 and it's like, no, I'm not giving up. I'm going to get this guy, and we go to from there. So I don't know, but Murata, she kept reminding me of Jessie from Team Rocket from Pokemon. I think it's because of her hair sticking out. Like I kept thinking that she was a member of Team Rocket the whole time I was watching. Every time I'd see her, I'd be like, there's Jessie, because I could never remember her name. So yeah. Yeah, Oka and Murata, I definitely hope that they stick around or in. Miriam, thank you. Shadow, we're going to get to him. He's my favorite. Let's talk about Team Rocket would fit in the S, Fair Maiden Mel. Team Rocket, this is the exact type of humor and chaoticness that I would expect from Team Rocket, and I love it in this show. Let's talk about the real antagonist. I know a lot of you are going to say it's Adam. Adam is not the real antagonist of this show. The real antagonists are the 3 Macbeth witches that are basically his aunts. And I can't, oh God, irony, could be, but I don't think he swings that way. We'll talk about that. Hello, Shishimayu. You guys aren't late. You're just getting in on this. We're talking about the aunts, the creepy Macbeth witch aunts. The real antagonists are, I didn't put the palm trees on here. Malik, I didn't put the palm trees. Oh my gosh. See, if the palm trees come back in season 2, what's their role going to be? I don't know. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you so much. Yeah, the aunts. Oh my God, I can't stand them. As much as I disliked Adam's actions in parts of this season, the aunts were just the absolute worst. Beating children with rulers over the arms and calling it love is no, that's not how this works. And so some of you have commented with episode 12, and I agree. I really think that if they did a season 2, Adam should at some point stand up to the aunts. Or if Tadashi stood up to him, like somebody just needs to give them a talking. That would be, oh my God, I'm sorry, but I'm looking at the chat and Phelan saying Mia could be a Meowth. All right, those of you that are artists, y'all need to get on this. We need Murata as Jesse, Longa as James, and Mia as Meowth. I'm for it. You could sub in Cherry for Murata and make Cherry Jesse, sure. But yeah, the aunts, nah, kick him to the curb. I really would love Tadashi. I think Tadashi would be good to talk to him, to tell him off, but also Adam too, because they're just the worst. They are absolutely the worst. Yeah. All right. We got to get to my boy, my main man, my shadow, that I am trying to embody his spirit in this chat. Shadow is, here's the thing, y'all. I was fully prepared to hate Shadow in this series going in. I was fully prepared that I would not like his character, because from the outside looking in, you see him in episode 1 and he's that kooky, like clown. And I'll be honest, I don't like clowns. Like me putting on this makeup, I do not like clowns at all. I'm like, nope, no, thank you. And so, yeah, I really didn't expect to like Shadow's character at all. I went into the series being like, oh, he's going to be this side character that they're going to put into the show, and he's just going to be there for comic relief. And I thought it was going to be cringy. I was expecting it to be like the cringy humor, and it'd be like just like he was going to be this macho man and all this stuff. But no, as soon as episode 2 aired and we got the Sailor Moon transformation with Shadow, and I am a huge Sailor Moon fan. So I was like, oh, wait, he works at a flower shop. His name's Hiromi. He likes the manager. He has a heart of gold. He's the adult of the group. I was like, what is this man? And I was like, I relate to him so much. I relate to him in terms of him being like the adult of the group. Because I don't know, in your friend group, there's always that one person that is the adult. There's that one person that makes all the plans, that will follow through with the plans, and that will get things done. And everybody else is kind of running around like cats. And so I am the Shadow. Episode 6, when they go to the beach, that is the embodiment of me on a trip. If you want to know what Romania Black is like on a trip, watch episode 6 and watch Shadow, because that's me. That is me being like, I'm going to book the hotel. I'm going to get the rental car. I guess I'm going to drive the rental car. Like that whole episode, I was like, man, dude. And he's 25. He's not an old man. He's 25. I was just like, Shadow he is the adult of adults in this show. He is much more of an adult than Cherry and Joe. He's like he has a steady job. He's got a good life going. And they did him dirty. They had the gall. The show had the gall to do him so dirty at the end of this series, because I fully expected, as we kept going on, once we hit episode 6 and he had that drunken confession to Joe, and he's like, I love the manager. I was like, okay, this series is going to end with him confessing to the manager, right? And so, especially when he got mugged in episode 10, I was like, oh, he got mugged. He was protecting the manager. Like, she's going to come see him in the hospital. I'm like, it's all going to work out for our boy. And no, they chose to give him the worst timeline. He got the dark timeline. I was like, no, Shadow. Like, our dude, I felt so bad for him at the end of this. I was like, oh, hello, Snowy Hills. I felt so bad for him. I was like, man. So, and then of course, as soon as they showed him giving the flower to the manager, to Oka, in the last parts of episode 12, you were like, oh, maybe he's going to get with the manager instead. I'm like, I just want Shadow to be happy. I just want him to be happy. And yeah, I felt so bad for him. And I was like, man, show. And they played off for comic relief. And I was like, that's not funny. We've like watched this guy go for the whole series. Why would you do that? So yeah, I hope that they do a season 2. I like the humor they did with Shadow. I thought that humor was really on point. I'm like, oh, cool. The adult situations and him like being like being able to drink and go crazy, but also be responsible. Like, I thought that they played a lot of the humor with him very well. And so I hope we get more of that in season 2. But also I hope Shadow everybody else ends up in a pairing except Mia, which we'll talk about that later. But I'm like, Shadow deserves better. He deserved better. I'm like, yeah, we need, Faye, you're right. We need season 2 to give Shadow a happy ending. Absolutely. So speaking of Mia, I don't know what all of your impressions were of Mia going into this series, but Mia turned out to be exactly the type of character I thought he was going to be. Like, I really liked how Mia starts out as like the prodigy. Like, we get that prodigy kid skater and we get to go through his storyline and see. I think Mia's storyline could have been what Longa's was and is kind of to an extent. But Mia's, we get a lot more into like the friendship dynamic and what happens with friends when they fall apart. And it was kind of like almost a foreshadowing of Reki and Longa's conflict. Honestly, it was a little bit of a foreshadowing of, oh, okay, well, when you're like a prodigy like this is what can happen to the friends around you who are not prodigies like you, and how that is such a delicate balance of that friendship and how important communication is. And that was a really cool foreshadowing for what was going to kind of happen between Reki and Longa for a while because of something very similar. But yeah, Mia is definitely a cat boy. And I like that he does mellow over time. Like, we kind of unpeel the layers with Mia. Mia's kind of like a real life cat. When you first find it, it's like all kind of feral and it runs away and it's like, no, I don't want to be near you. And then the more it is around you, it kind of warms up to you and then comes up, wants to be pet and like wants to be around you. And so I feel like by the end of the series, Mia and Reki, definitely their friendship, especially, because I love Mia, him getting comforted by Reki at the end of episode 4, where Reki is like, oh, we're not going to leave you. We're going to be your friends. And Mia's like, I've not had that. And that's what I need. So I really kind of love that. Also, Mia is so mischievous and can so get away with it. Like the whole beach episode where he goes up to Joe and he's like, Daddy. And it's like, oh, only you can pull that off, Mia. And I absolutely love it. And him basically, Mia is kind of like an instigator of the plot throughout this whole series, because Mia confronts Reki about not upholding his promise. Mia confronts Joe about being around all those women when clearly everyone can see that Joe likes Cherry. Mia is around Shadow all the time. Mia confronts Longa about bringing Reki back to the S. Like, Mia is basically a little plot point. Mia is like the Kasumi from Free. That is Mia. Mia is there to join everyone there. And it's absolutely, I love it. Then Forgotten, thank you very much. Yes, Miriam, the beach scene, the beach whole episode is just wonderful. I absolutely love it. So I like what Terry said. He's the Yurio of the group. Yeah, he is Yurio Pletsky. If we're going to go Yuri on ice, Mia is Yurio. Not quite as angry all the time as Yurio, though. I would say I'm glad at the end of season 2 that Mia at least talks to Reki. When Mia cried, like as Reki like beat Adam, when Mia was crying and you see him like wipe the tears away, I was like, but I agree, Sunflower. I wanted to see Mia and Reki have a conversation and kind of mend the fences, and they don't quite do that. And again, it's like you're making up for lost time, but you could have had that conversation. So I hope that if we get a season 2, that Mia is in there more, and then we show more with him and Reki and him and Longa, and kind of, I feel like Mia is sort of like the glue holding all of these characters together, because Mia has a good friendship and good relationship with everybody in the group. So I do agree, Annie, Reki still owes me an apology. And if they did like an OVA or a movie, maybe they could have a scene like that. That would be amazing. We definitely need that. And the Lost Child meme. Yeah, Faye. So yeah, it didn't hit me until rewatching this series that Mia kind of is the glue holding the entire group together. Like, he's able to interact and have a good relationship with everyone, no matter what the situation is. Like, even when the characters were against each other, Mia was there to kind of push them all together, which I thought was really, really cool. And then we have Cherry and Joe. You know, Cherry and Joe. Oh my gosh. I'll talk about Joe first. My impressions of Joe from the start to this kind of haven't changed. He reminds me, if you've watched Given, Joe and Cherry give off a Kaji Haruki, Akihiko Haruki vibe to me from Given. They're definitely the older pairing. Yes, Matcha Blossom. Talk about Matcha Blossom. We'll talk about pairings here in a bit. So we'll get to Matcha Blossom for sure. But my first impression of Joe just being the beefcake and the womanizer. And I like the fact that Joe and Cherry together, the fact that they've known each other for so long and they remember facts about each other and they're able to say, like, they've traveled the world together. Excuse me, where's our prequel series of Joe and Cherry's high school adventures? We got teased with that. Where is our Joe and Cherry travel the world passport series? If they made little 5-minute shorts of Joe and Cherry in different countries, I'd watch the hell out of that. I'd be like, okay, it could be like a chibi series. Oh my God, it could be like a chibi series. And it's just Joe and Cherry's adventures around the world. We'll just call it's Skate the Infinity Passport or something, Matcha Blossom Passport, whatever. And it'll just be like 3 to 5 minute shorts of Joe and Cherry going to each country. I want to see Joe and Cherry at the Eiffel Tower in Paris. I want to see Joe and Cherry in LA. We should petition this, be like, look, Skate, we get it. You don't want to do a whole full season. You can do 20 episodes of this chibi thing and show them going to different countries. I want to see them at Egypt in the pyramids. I want to see a mummy chasing them. I feel like this would be a great idea. And it will give us the Matcha Blossom content that we deserve. So, because I feel like Joe and Cherry, we didn't get enough Matcha Blossom. We got Skate the World. Irony, you are amazing. Skate the World. I'm done. That's it. Chat's over, y'all. We've done it. We did it. Oh my gosh. And then they could skateboard past the mummy. It could be a Halloween episode and they just go to Egypt and they go to the pyramids and then they're on their skateboards. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine them skateboarding through Paris and they get like a baguette and a croissant and then go to the Eiffel Tower? And they both like wine. So I'm just saying it's no wonder they've gone to Paris. I'm stereotyping horribly, but I've heard good things. So yeah, oh my gosh. Wait, Sunflower, I'm reading your part of the chat here. The interview with Ryder said both Cherry and Joe felt attracted to Adam at some point. That's interesting that they said Joe and Cherry. I mean, we'll talk about Cherry here in a second, but Joe, I mean, I definitely see Cherry more than Joe. I don't know. That's interesting. But yeah, what I like about Joe's character too is that he is such a great like older brother, uncle figure to Reki. Like him and Reki are very, very similar, right? And throughout the entire series, there's so many similarities to like Joe's relationship with Cherry and Reki's relationship with Longa and kind of the struggle. It's funny because they both struggle with the fact that their characters are associated with Adam. I don't see Joe being into Adam. I'm like, that's so weird. Because Joe called him like a son of a bitch. I was like, no. And Joe and Cherry have known each other since kindergarten. Of course they have. Of course they have. Like you could do so much with this chibi series. You could do flashbacks and show them like going on field trips together. You could show them going like different parts of Japan together. I just think we need this. This just hit me in this chat, guys, but Skate the World. We need this chibi series. And oh my gosh. But yeah, I really like Joe's relationship with Reki and how he kind of provided advice to him. And even when Joe was skating Longa, Joe was able to provide advice to Longa. I didn't picture Joe as the sage character of the group. Honestly, when this started, I pictured Cherry as the one that was going to be the mentor. I thought Cherry was going to be the one to mentor the group and give advice. But Cherry kind of just does his own thing. And Cherry's like, no, you guys have got this. You don't need me. Whereas Joe was the one that is kind of the more down-to-earth person that provides the advice and mentorship to Reki and Longa. And so I thought that was really, because usually you see like a beefcake character like Joe and you think, oh, he's just going to be this brawny character that doesn't have any like compassion or sentimental, that would be the stereotype. And Joe is not like that at all. He's very sentimental. When Joe like has the wine glass in front of Cherry and Cherry's like sleeping on the table and he's like, we're not alone. Like that whole scene at the end of that episode, at the end of episode 10 was so sweet and intimate. It was like, it just was like melt your heart. Bungo Stray Dogs won. Okay. So it's similar to that. Interesting. So yeah, it's kind of hard to talk about Joe and Cherry without one another because they're kind of a package deal. It's Matcha Blossom. It's like, yeah, the wine glass moment. My heart indeed. But yeah, talking about Cherry, I thought he was going to be the one to be like the sage mentor because, you know, stereotypically he's got the calligraphy shop. He seems very mature. He's got the glasses. He seems older. But no, Skate defies a lot of stereotypes that we expect to happen. And Cherry is kind of like the loner that's like, you guys have got this. I'm the tech guy. I've got Carla. We're fine. You guys, you're doing all right. So yeah, it's just, Digi says that Joe seems like Aussie from Haikyuu. Yeah, kind of. But yeah, Cherry, oh my gosh. Cherry, again, being voiced by a much older voice actor, I think is helpful because Cherry has this like air of sophistication and like almost not quite like he's better than you, but he might think that he's better than you. I did not expect when this series started for Cherry to be a tech guy. I did not expect that because from the outside, he has the traditional Japanese garb and everything. And he doesn't seem like, you know, usually when you see the tech person in the group, they're like in like a like a futuristic outfit. And Cherry is not. He's very traditional, but has like all the technology at his fingertips. He doesn't think it. He knows it. That's the attitude, Fair Maiden Mel. It's that attitude where he's like, oh, I don't think, I know. It's like, I'm just spitting facts. Like that is Cherry. And I love his design. Like you said, Tara, like the long hair, the fact that he can wear glasses or contacts, his like attitude, his personality. I like that Mia is kind of a mixture of both Cherry and Joe, which is hilarious because Mia plays off that he's their kid, right? But Mia has like the compassion of Joe, but he has the snarky cat-like personality of Cherry. And it's like a perfect blend of the two of them. I love it. I absolutely love it. But yeah, the whole calligraphy thing with Cherry, that Joe has the restaurant and Cherry has the calligraphy. Like it's really cool. And then Carla, the wheelchair, I'm sorry, but the wheelchair in episode 10, where Cherry like rolls into the restaurant with this outfitted wheelchair. I commented on it in the episode, but I like to think that Cherry just had this technology built and he's like outfitting assisted living homes with these wheelchairs. He's just got like a whole assembly line of Carla wheelchairs ready to go at your nearest nursing home. Like he's got this all planned out. I'm like Cherry, because Cherry's obsessed with money. And that's another thing we talk about, the character's happiness. And we'll get to that towards the end here. But the idea of Cherry being obsessed with wealth and wanting to be rich. And I wonder, too, they don't really know each other's backstories. So, Carla's a shapeshifter. I guess she could be, yeah. Carla does change from a skateboard, too. The fact that Carla becomes a wheelchair after becoming a skateboard, I'm like, okay, Cherry, why have you not patented this? And you should. Because this technology seems a bit like, if you're wanting money, I think this technology is going to get you some money. I'm just saying. I think it's going to get you that. But yeah, like Cherry's happiness being money. The very beginning of this series, where we had Reki skateboarding being his happiness, Shadow being the people around him, the women, is what we presume in the first episode. And then we think for Adam, it's the prestige. And for Cherry, we think it's the money. But and for Mia, we think it's like being at a high school or getting accepted into a wealthy school. But it's all different by the end of the series. I'm going to go back and talk about that. I'm still on my characters. I'm going to go back to that when we're done talking about all of our characters. But I just want to keep that in the back of my mind there. But yeah, Cherry with his niche transformer. Absolutely. So I'll talk about the pairings here in a little bit, but I want to get through these characters first too. So we have Tadashi with Adam. We'll talk about Tadashi first. The first impressions of Tadashi, I did not expect him to be a skateboarder. I didn't see it. No, when this series started, I thought he was just going to be the secretary or the butler. And I was like, oh, okay, well, there's Adam's like personal assistant. Cool. Nice. What's he going to be doing? And then, of course, Tadashi ends up becoming Tadashi's a weird person. I'm sorry. Tadashi's a weird character. I love Tadashi, but he's a weird character. And someone commented that on this today in one of the videos. They were like, this whole plot of this series is kind of Tadashi's fault. It kind of is, because Tadashi and the whole skateboard betrayal with Adam, but I did not expect to get emotionally invested in Tadashi. I did not expect it. And once we got the Snake character, once we got that, the reveal with him, I was like, oh my gosh, this opens up a whole nother thing. Like, what the heck? Annie, I have a personal vendetta against Tadashi. Yeah, Tadashi, I like his character and what he's going for, but I'm like, dude, you need to speak up. And we finally get that at the end. But the whole thing in the end of episode 11, I could have just thrown a table when he was like, I'm just going to forfeit. I was like, what have we been building this whole series to? And I was like, why? Yeah, Molly, Tadashi and Adam can't communicate. Now everyone around them must suffer. Mm-hmm. That's the motto of Skate. Communication. It's important. You should probably communicate with each other, especially if you've had 8-year-long grudges and you haven't been able to resolve them. You should maybe get that taken care of. Yeah, I'm glad that by the end of the series, Tadashi does speak up. He speaks the most to Reki, I think, out of everybody in the series. And then Reki gives it right back to him. Reki's like, no, you can't just talk to me about this. Phelan says, I don't think you can be around Adam too long without being weird too. But yeah, I like that Ani said in the reaction to Cindereki today, Ani was like, therapy, counseling, should both of them go to that in season 2? Yes, they should. We should go to couples counseling. I just imagine Tadashi grabbing Adam and dragging him to couples counseling, and they just play it off as something else. Or if we go with the whole marriage subplot, if Adam has wrangled some poor woman. And oh my God, can you imagine being the woman that is betrothed to Adam? Can you imagine? We didn't get to see her in this, but they said that she exists. Could you imagine this poor woman? And she's like being drugged to therapy with Adam and Tadashi. And Tadashi's just doing it to keep the ruse alive. Like, he doesn't want to reveal that he's dragging Adam to therapy because Adam needs to go. He's just like, no, it's couples counseling for you and Adam, not for me and Adam. And then it just devolves into madness. Digi, it's love, damn it. I'm going to say that when we get to Renga. I was saving it for Renga, so I'll say it again when we get to that. And we'll talk about the woof. Yes, oh my God. But yeah, if Tadashi's in season 2, I would like Tadashi to be, 1, more vocal, because he needs to be. He needs to be more vocal. 2, I would want Tadashi, I kind of want Tadashi to tell the aunts off. I really do, because Adam's been raised by them, and so he's kind of molded behavior-wise to whatever they do. But I want Tadashi to talk to the aunts and be like, y'all have made him a monster, so thanks for that. But yeah, I would like to see that. So I'm saving Reki and Longa for last. You should know that. You should know that. We've got all this biblical allegory, the symbolism. That was one thing about this show that I didn't expect, that I absolutely love, was all of the symbolism. Like, all the biblical allegories I did not see coming. And then I was like, oh my God. Before we move on, I have to quote, I'm seeing the chat right now, and Phelan's comment is from Parks and Rec, the meme of Adam's wife. This is my husband, Adam, and that's his husband's boyfriend. And this is my husband's boyfriend, Tadashi. And this is my husband's husband, Tadashi. Yeah. So the Adam and Eve thing, it's the snake in the garden of Eden. And it's like, oh, Tadashi, you're not subtle at all. When this show decides not to be subtle, it's not subtle. And that's a prime example. But Adam, oh my God, y'all can hate him. Y'all can hate him. And I fully understand. But he has been one of the most fun antagonists, one of the most fun villains that you love to hate that I have seen in a show for a very long time. I cannot explain to you. When I first saw Adam in episode 1, when he did the classical music, and he was like, da, 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 like that whole thing, I was like, oh, it's Hisoka 2.0. And it's like, okay, he's just going to be this over-the-top flamboyant villain, and it's going to be cringy, and it's going to be weird. And it was weird. But I did not expect He's as subtle as hitting someone with a skateboard. Oh, Annie, that's great. I did not expect Adam to be so developed in this series, because I've said this in other episodes that you get a character like Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter. And if you've not watched Hunter x Hunter, Hisoka is very similar to Adam, but Hisoka's not that developed. He's kind of like the Joker. Hisoka and the Joker from Batman are kind of the same. Like, you don't get much with their backstory. They're just crazy and creepy and weird, and that's all you know about them. And then you just watch them act in their dialogue. With Adam, we actually get to see his character and how it has developed. We get to see what made the monster. And you kind of get to see all the people involved. And what I like about Adam's character and his backstory is it's not just one person's fault. It's not just, some villains in shows, it's one person changed their whole life and made them into a monster. No, this was a combination of things. This was a combination of his aunts, of his father, of Tadashi, of the circumstances of where he works and how he's a politician. Like, it's his conditioning. It's everything put together. And it all makes up his character. And you can hate him. Yes. His actions, most of them are not justified. But he's an interesting character. And I like that he's still human. By the end, by episode 12, you're like, he still has emotions. He still feels betrayal. He feels pain. He maybe doesn't react to them great, or in the best way possible. But he's a character that is human and relatable in a lot of ways. And then you watch him just go ham with it, and you're like, what are you doing? It just goes from there. So I didn't have this till later, but the episode 12, I'm going to go ahead and say it with his character. That whole opening of episode 12, y'all are talking in the chat about it, but can we talk about that? That may be one of my favorite openings for an anime. It's so over the top and dramatic, and it's the rain and the lightning, and that poor tailor, like, he's just sitting in there just sewing up a pant leg, and the doors like bust open, and he's like, dude, it's raining. And there's this tall ass man standing there drenched in a matador outfit. Could you imagine being the tailor and the doors swing wide open and there's a guy in a matador outfit just being like, oh, hey, I need you to make me an outfit. And he's like, we only do suits, sir. And he's like, is it for a wedding? Like, a guy would show up at midnight for a wedding suit tailoring. He's like, no. And we don't get to hear what he says, but I have to say it had to have been a funeral. He had to have said it's for a funeral. It does play like a horror movie, and the lightning flashes and the guy's like, and that outfit, I don't know how much more extra you can be with that outfit. I don't know how that's possible. Like the backless heart, the spine going down it, the black skin tight suit with the blue instead of the red, like it's a complete color inversal, the heart with the rib cage around it. And he not only went balls to the walls with the suit, but he made a coffin shaped skateboard that turns into a cross. I don't know what I was expecting with that last episode, but it wasn't that. And that was like in the first 5 minutes. But oh my God. Yeah, muscle backs. We got to show the muscles off. I feel like with Adam's character, though, by the end of it, he's just wanting to belong somewhere, and he just wants to relate to someone. And his whole life, he's not been able to relate. Like, his father shunned him away from skateboarding. Tadashi has been closed off and isn't communicating with him. His aunts have physically abused him and verbally, mentally abused him since childhood. Like, Adam just wants to relate to somebody. And that whole idea of, I want to go off to another world. Like, one thing I loved about his character in this is that the Garden of Eden, the S, is a representation of escapism. Like, it's the ultimate, it's Neverland. It's Neverland from Peter Pan. He's like, that whole time he's talking to Longa and they're in the zone. He's like, it basically was like Peter Pan trying to drag Wendy to Neverland. He was like, oh, just come with me and you can forget everything. You can forget about all the bad things that have happened to you. And you can just be in this world and we can do whatever we want and skate all the time and forget responsibility. And Longa, I love that he's like, why would I forget? Because And Longa's the one that's lost a family member, right? Longa's lost, he's had his father die, and he still doesn't think his life is that bad. He's like, I don't want to forget things. I'm happy with how things are. So that whole last episode really conveyed Adam's like true intentions. And I love that it was Longa that snapped him out of it. I will say this. We talk about modernizing from, if you guys have seen Hunter x Hunter at all, then you probably know that in Hunter x Hunter, Hisoka has this very, very creepy fixation on Gon, who is our main protagonist. It is very creepy. I remember watching the show with my brother early on. I'm still watching it. I'm not finished with Hunter x Hunter, but I'm still watching it because there's a lot of episodes. And we got to the part where, if you've watched Hunter x Hunter, you know the part where Hisoka basically, I'll say the word pines because that's the nice way of saying it for Gon. And I looked at my brother and I was like, isn't Gon like 12? And my brother was like, oh, he's 14. I'm like, that doesn't make it better. I'm like, no. And what this show could have done was it could have done the exact same thing. And it kind of does. It could have done the exact same thing of it being completely non-consensual creepiness. And part of it is, I won't argue with y'all, but at least in episode 4, Adam did ask if he could touch Longa, and he did offer the flowers to Longa, and Longa did take them. It doesn't excuse it, but I'm like, at least it could have been creepier. It could have been worse. It could have been much worse. And I think by the end of it, when they do that whole rooftop thing where he flies into the rooftop, Greed Island, Annie. Yeah, Greed Island. When Adam flies into the rooftop at the end of episode 12, at least Tadashi's like smiling up in the helicopter. Tadashi's smiling in the helicopter, which means he's in on the joke. Like they're doing, like Adam's pestering Longa as an antagonistic thing to do for fun. But also Reki stayed with Longa. So at least Longa can defend himself and Reki can be there to defend him as well. So season 2 with Adam, someone pointed this out, and Annie, I don't know if it was you or not, but the idea of, and at first when they said this, I was like, but the idea of Adam being like a brother figure to Longa, and I was like, a brother figure to Longa. Like that wouldn't be as creepy, true, but how would that work? And I was like, would that work? And then it hit me. I've read the manga Fruits Basket from way back in the day. I have not watched the new series yet, but okay, Annie, it was you. Good, thank you. I haven't watched the new series of Fruits Basket, but in Fruits Basket, there's a character named Yuki, and Yuki has a brother, Ayame. And in that series, Ayame is like kind of creepy-ish around Toru a little tiny bit. Not to Adam's level at all. But when you said that whole thing about Adam being a brother to Longa, Annie, I was like, oh, that'd kind of be like a Yuki Ayame relationship where Yuki just absolutely gets frustrated and mad at his brother and is like, get out of here. Like that would be, I do like Ayame too. Don't get me wrong. I do like Ayame and I like Adam. So I'm like, it kind of is the same relationship dynamic too. So I'm like, that could work. I'm trying not to touch my face, as y'all can tell, because it's going to just wipe everything off. But yeah, something like that might be interesting. I don't know. But yeah. The slightly perverted snake. which if you put Adam and Tadashi together, it's a slightly perverted snake. I don't know. I didn't expect Fruits Basket to be my skate discussion, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it too. Sure thing. Okay. So yeah, we'll talk more about, like I said, pairings and stuff like that. But Longa and Reki, we're here. Our main characters. It only took us 48 minutes to get into our main characters. But Longa and Reki, Ranga, and after this, we'll tie into pairings after this. Longa and Reki. We'll talk about Longa first. My first impressions of Longa, because I had just watched Banana Fish and had finished Banana Fish, and a lot of people, it's love, damn it. I'll say that one more time, but we have to get to it first. When I first saw Longa in the episode, I kept thinking I just finished Banana Fish, And a lot of people were doing the comparisons, the side-by-sides of episode 1 with, then forgotten halfway through Banana Fish. No Banana Fish spoilers. They're off the table, y'all. As far as this chat goes, no Banana Fish spoilers. None of that. We have a person that hasn't finished the series, so it's not, we cannot spoil. Spoilers are off. But I had just seen episode 1, and on Twitter they were showing panels of episode 1 when Reki sees Longa in his eyes, and they were comparing that to when Ash sees AG jump over with the pole vaulting in his eyes. It was like, it was like the parallels. And so for a moment, I was like, is Longa going to be this like really cool, naturally talented character? And he does turn out to be. Like, my impressions of Longa from the beginning were pretty much the same as how I feel about Longa. However, I will say this. I did not expect Longa to be as soft of a character. Like, I expected Longa to be so emotionally reserved or quiet. And then we get to Longa and it's like, he is really like soft and compassionate and caring. And it's like, oh, okay. And he's like Longa is all aboard the Reki train. There is no doubt. Like him watching the videos of Reki skateboarding in episode 10, I was like, oh my gosh. And him like over at Reki's house and him like meeting. Episode 7 crushed me, y'all, because Longa was standing out in the rain for him. He was like, when Reki skateboarded past him and didn't high five Longa's hand, and Longa was like, hey. I was like, oh, no. Like, Longa was he's just a cinnamon bun, an absolute sweet little bean, as you said, Nia J. Yeah, they're just, Annie says they're equally as gay as Nezumi and Shion. I agree. He's just a little snow-covered cinnamon roll. Yeah, Digi, he's a little snow-covered cinnamon roll. I'm going to use that now. He is. It's a perfect thing for him. And I didn't expect him to be such a sweet boy. And here we are. And then Reki, I'm putting them together kind of like Joe and Cherry. Reki from the start, you think he's the sunshine boy character. Like, he's the sunshine character. He's like the Hinata from Haikyuu. He's the always optimistic character. And it's like, I like there was a TikTok where a girl was describing Reki's character, and on the TikTok, hello, I can't pronounce your name. I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. Omaima. I'm sorry. Hello. Hopefully I said that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. Hello. But with Reki, there was a TikTok where a girl was like, we think he's a sunshine character, but his element is actually the rain. And he's like a sun shower. And I was like, that's so perfect, because like episode 11, where he uses the rain and gets past Adam in the rain with the wheels, and it's like all lit up like fire, but it's the rain. It's like, oh, a sun shower. That's perfect. And Reki is the rain and Longa's snow. And it's like, oh my goodness. And I'm touching my face. And he turned out to be so much more of a dynamic, in-depth character than I could have possibly imagined in the show. Because I thought he was just going to be this sunshine character that was just optimistic all the time and happy, and he was going to get sad, and then he was going to get happy again. But no, Reki had so much more depth than that. I love the fact that he's an inventor. I love the fact that his whole thing in episode 11 was that he almost won that race. I get why he lost. I wish he would have won. I wish he would have won that race. He should have won that race. He won the war. He may have lost the battle, but Reki won the war, right? But I love that he's an inventor, that he uses his know-how and his technical skills to nearly win that race, to outshine Adam, because he knew about the tires, he knew about the conditions. It's like, and you feel so bad for him in episode 7, because what I like about the show and the angst is that the angst was not something that just came out of nowhere. We all saw it coming, and we all saw it build those first 5 episodes. And then episode 6 was like a distraction. Episode 6 was like, hey guys, look, a beach episode. There's no tension here. And then as soon as we get to episode 7, it's like, yeah, the tension's still there. So, I mean, the show took its time to build up Reki's insecurities and to build up his thoughts about Longa and about his own ability in skateboarding. And then it took its time so that when episode 7 happened, it just hits like a ton of bricks. And we're like, dang it, why? And And I like that it's something that we all can relate to. I think all of us can find a part of Reki that we relate to and can understand about his struggles, but it's also what makes us root for him in episode 11. Yeah, everyone's screaming Reki's name instead of Adam's in episode 11. That was one of the most satisfying moments of the whole series because Reki has been so down on himself and he's had such low self-esteem this whole time. And then we get to that moment where he races past Adam, and then when Adam barely beats him, but at that point, the whole crowd is rooting for Reki now. They don't care about Adam. They're like, whatever. It's all about Reki. And Reki going from thinking back in episode 7 that he was this nameless skateboarder that was just Longa's accomplice to being someone that he's like, don't forget my name. I'm Reki. And it's like, and they won't forget his name. It's like, I was afraid, Annie, that he would have gotten hurt in that race. I was really afraid of that. And then I could not have been more happy with how that turned out for him. I was like, it was just so wonderful. And then him and Longa's friendship and everything. I like at the very end, Reki teaching his sisters how to skateboard. I love that, Annie, you said that too about, and I think maybe Natalie said this as well on YouTube. Like several of you were talking about the sister becoming good at skateboarding too. And I was like, man, what if in season 2, the sister starts skateboarding? She goes to the S. And Shadow just ends up babysitting more kids. Like Shadow is now offering a part-time babysitting service on top of his florist gig. He's watching over Mia and he's watching over Reki's sister as well. Why not? I love that. And I love the idea of them skating at the end. And when Longa says, what's his happiness? And then he turns the corner and sees Reki standing there. My heart, I was like, are you kidding me? And again, another Yuri on Ice comparison. It has been made all over Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, wherever, but y'all know what I'm talking about. The hug at the end of episode 12, mirroring the hug in episode 7 of Yuri on Ice. It's the same feeling. It's the same feeling. The leap, the hug. We were just denied the closed off kiss. That's all we needed. And it would have been complete. But I guess if they had done the kiss like they did in Yuri on Ice, they would have said it was plagiarism and copyright. And that's the only reason they didn't do it, because they didn't want to go through all the legal trouble. Oh my gosh. Shadow Daycare OVA, yes. Let's do the Life of Shadow OVA. I'm all for it. But yeah, I understand. They didn't want to get into a big copyright battle, so they didn't do that. But I'm just saying, that leap, it was wonderful. So as far as what season 2 could hold for Reki and Longa, yes, it's too early for a kiss. They haven't even confronted their feelings yet. True story. And that's the other thing. Annie brings up a really good point. And that is true, that they just made up and just became friends again. We need a season 2 to develop those feelings further. We need that because we just got them to be friends again and be close again. So we need that season 2 to develop those feelings further. We should do that. I think that if we had season 2, I had a lot of ideas that I put at the end of the episode 12 reaction. I think they totally could do, if we're doing Skate the World, if we're going back to our Skate the World idea that all of us have come up with, and it's amazing, and I love it, and I want to do all of the little comics about it now, or give my ideas to people that can draw better than me and say, here, do this. If we're doing Skate the World, then we need to have them all go to Canada. I'm just saying. Season 2, or we could have an OVA where Longa invites them to Canada for a snowboarding retreat. We get Joe and Cherry, Shadow and Mia and Reki all flying over, going over there to Canada and doing snowboarding. And I like that this was brought up in the reaction to Cindereki today, that what if they went over to Canada and Reki was really good at snowboarding? What if it was kind of like the reverse? What if Longa became like a prodigy at skateboarding and Reki became like this crazy overnight prodigy in snowboarding? Wouldn't that be something? And then Longa has to come to terms with the fact that somebody's better than him at something, and it would create this dynamic of, okay, what do we do? Longa teaches Reki how to snowboard, and Reki's technical, so he can do all crazy things with the snowboards and the track and the course. I'm just saying, and then, oh my God, guys, if we want our matcha blossom moments, I'm just saying a log cabin in the snow, marshmallows and hot cocoa, Joe makes a meal for Cherry. It's really romantic. I'm just saying. It would be everything, and I would love it. So yeah. Oh no. Irony. Oh no. We're snowed in. Our clothes are soaked. Oh no. We are keeping this chat PG. We are keeping this for the kids. We're keeping this safe for the children. But that we could take that to Twitter. That's our not safe for work discussion. But it could happen. I'm just saying. Yeah. And then the callback. I will say this about the dub versus the sub. We're going to talk about the dub. When Longa's father spoke to him in episode 12 in the sub, the Japanese sub, that moment was so wonderful because it was like the moment where he spoke English to him. It's like everything broke away from the episode, and you just had this really quiet, tender moment between Longa and his father. And it's like Longa getting this, because the whole time Longa has associated skateboarding with Reki to the same feeling he had snowboarding with his father. And it was like, it was so good. And I will say this, it has a lot more impact in the sub because of language change than it does in the dub for me. Because in the dub, it's still English. It kind of reminds me of like in Free when they go to Australia, when Rin and Haru go to Australia in Free, and the Japanese characters are interacting with people that speak English. It's that same concept. It's so much more engaging in the sub than in the dub because there's a language barrier there. So that was kind of the same feelings. But all right, we're an hour in. We need to talk about pairs. Shipping time, y'all. Shipping time. And subverting tropes and all the sexualities, everything representative, bitches, bros, non-binary hoes. Oh my God, it's 2 a.m. where you are. I am sorry this is so late for you. Thank you for tuning in this late. It's shipping time. It's shipping time. If you've not finished Free, I highly recommend it. It's great. You should get through it. It's a good time. So 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Y'all, I need to start scheduling these earlier so that you guys aren't up extremely late. I'm sorry. I need to look at time zones. Oh, y'all are amazing. Holy cow. I hope you're able to sleep a lot later after all this is over. Thank you for joining me so late. You guys are like freaking champs. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, that like made my heart melt. Like, you guys are awesome. All right. Shipping. It's early morning for some of y'all. We need to talk about ships. It's late night, early morning. The ships in this show are amazing. Let's just be real. Let us be real. The shipping. Okay, Ranga. It's love, damn it. It's the most canon thing in this show. I love it. Oh my God. The chemistry between these characters is amazing. It's one of the things I love about this show. And I feel like only a show in 2021 can get away with having these characters with such different relationships. And there was something on Twitter, and I think this is so true. We have our three, of course, there's Shadow and his failed confession to his manager. And then Mia, you know what? I almost say that Mia's like, I don't need to be in a relationship. I'm like 14. Don't have time for that. So like Mia is totally cool being Mia, and Mia's just kind of like, Mia to me has like his nose scrunched at every relationship. He's like, get it together, Longa. Get it together, Matcha Blossom. Like Mia just has no time for anything like that. But Ranga, Matcha Blossom, and Tada-Ai, those three ships, I had someone on Twitter, and ever since they put this on there, it has stuck in my brain. But they said that Tada-Ai is like a BL series from the 80s and 90s. Matcha Blossom is like a BL series from the 2000s. And Ranga is a BL series from now. And I totally agree. I'm like, it's so good. Ranga is so canon. And I'm sorry, but if you don't think it's canon, did you watch Cindereki with me today? Because it is. When your main character is canonically dreaming of being Cinderella and going to a ball and wanting to marry the prince who is Longa, and they skate down a rainbow ice road with wedding bells playing, I'm sorry. I don't know what else you think that is. But here's the thing. if the show had wanted Reki to be with anybody else, they could have had a girl in the drama audio CD. They could have had her in the CD. They could have had Longa there too. If they wanted Reki to be with anybody else, they could have done it. But did they do it? No. They had Reki with Longa in the audio drama CD. It's canon. It's love, damn it. And the dub where Longa goes, Reki, my love of skateboarding. And I was like, no! It's like, how could you do this to us? No. It just, and then, yeah, there's so many moments in this show, like Longa saying Reki has a unique face and Reki taking offense to it, the soft looks, them side by side watching all the videos, like Longa's basic confession to him of wanting to skate. I want to skate infinitely with you. If that isn't I love you, what are we supposed to think? What are we supposed to think? There were so many moments in this show that I'm like, I don't see how you could think of Reki and Longa with anybody else. I don't see. It is like one true pairing establishments right there. That is like the foundations of one true pairings right there. All the scenes of them together in this. If we talked about sexual, because somebody had asked in the community post about sexual orientations, and then I mean, Longa's gay. I mean, that's pretty much the fact that they used that conversation with his mom as kind of a way for him to come out was, I mean, that seemed pretty obvious to me in there, especially when she was like, oh, you like that person, right? And the fact that she said that person and he instantly was like, Reki. And he's like, yes. And she's like, then you have to tell him how you feel. And he's like, I don't know if I want to do that. And then she's like, go for it. Tell her how you feel. And he's like, her. It's like, mm-hmm. And then when Reki asks if Longa is interested in the girl, and he's like, mm-hmm. Like his pickup line is, hey, you hungry? Like, oh, ooh. Guys into girls probably don't use that pickup line. And then a lot of people have said that Joe and Reki are probably bi. I think so. The English voice actor for Joe is bisexual and is kind of like all about him and Cherry as characters together. So I'm like, yeah. And the way Oliver's all for it too. Oliver's got the thumbs up. He's like, yeah, totally with it, son. I'm totally on board with your relationship with Reki. It's like, good. It's like I'm the supporting father, supporting from beyond the grave. It's like, yes, awesome. So yeah, Ranga, canon. Matcha Blossom just needs to figure it out. Matcha Blossom needs to do the Ranga movement. And here's the thing. Matcha Blossom is like a married couple that don't realize they're married. They like have been a secret arranged marriage for 20 years and they haven't realized it. And everyone else around them knows it's happening and that it's been happening except them. I'm like, come on, guys. What are we waiting on? I think if anybody was to confess in that relationship, it would be Joe. Like Joe would be the one to confess. He would be the one to confess his feelings to Cherry. Cherry is so kind of like withdrawn emotionally that I could see him being like, I don't know if I can do that. And then, the fake dating trope definitely applies to Matcha Blossom for sure. Irony. Absolutely. Like, it's just, they just need to confess. They need to just figure it out. And they just go to Canada and get stuck in a snow lodge for a week, and then they have to figure it out. I don't know why that's so hard to have happen, Skate. But yeah, so Joe and Cherry, if you've watched Given, Joe and Cherry definitely give me Akihiko and Haruki vibes of being that like older college age couple that kind of like look after the younger couple. So Ranga and Matcha Blossom, Ranga is kind of like Mafiu and Ueno Yama, and being the younger high school couple. And then Haruki and Akihiko is kind of like Joe and Cherry. They're the older couple that have had more experience with relationships and they can give advice to the younger generation. But it's ironic because the younger generation has it figured out. Like Reki and Longa have their whole relationship figured out, whereas Joe and Cherry are trying to give advice, but they aren't even officially together. So it's like, it's the best irony. Yeah, Cherry's reaction if Joe confessed would be very interesting, especially given, and I like, Annie, that you bring this up about Cherry and Adam, because I want to talk about this too, that Cherry, that whole thing threw me for a wild loop. The idea of Cherry and Adam, I didn't see it. I was floored by it in episode 10, because I was like, I knew Cherry had a lot of animosity towards Adam, and Joe did too. And I thought it was just that their characters have, known each other since high school. And knowing each other since high school, they've had this friendship develop. And then when Adam kind of left them to go to America, and then he came back and started the S and was just kind of distant from them, I thought that maybe that animosity was just about the friendship. But then when you see the flashback and you see Cherry like looking at Adam and having the glimmery eyes, and then Cherry being like getting grabbed by Adam and saved, and you're like, oh, you liked him. It's like, and Adam clearly, it's weird. Did y'all think that was weird in episode 10? How Adam reacted to Cherry? Because it was not good. He didn't have a good reaction to racing Cherry. It was like he didn't want to do it. And I know at the end it says because he thought that Cherry was boring, but I feel like there's more to it than that, because I feel like there's something the show is not telling us, because Cherry is almost as good of a skater as Adam. And you'd think that Adam would want to acknowledge him and make him part of his world, especially with their history and the flashbacks we see of them in high school. But when it comes down to it, Adam doesn't want anything to do with him anymore. So it almost makes me feel like something happened to them in the past. And that's why Adam wants to totally get away from him now. Yeah, hit him with the board. Yeah, Adam did not look happy to be skating him at all. And I think that, irony, he wanted to finalize that breakup with him. And then R. Stevens, real quick, 2 a.m. Yeah, you all in the UK and stuff, you guys are amazing. I can't believe you guys are watching this so late. I hope you guys get to sleep tomorrow. I really do. Yes, thank you for coming in. And yeah, if you don't get to see all of this chat, we'll talk about, it'll be on here on YouTube and you'll get to see it tomorrow. But yes, I feel like we could do a whole prequel series of just Adam and Joe and Cherry. Like we could do a whole prequel series of their high school days. Like if the show wanted to, they could do a whole prequel series of their high school days and showing like how their relationship formed, how like the things they got into. Tadashi would be there too in the background. We could see Tadashi and his relationship, because as we've seen in the interviews, I've read the interviews afterwards. I've seen the interviews afterwards where it said that Tadashi worked for Adam's father. And I'm like, that's a crazy dynamic. So we could see during the high school phase, we could see Tadashi working for Inosuke's father and what that was like and how that played into the relationship. That would be so cool. And you could really do a lot of it, because at this point, Reki and Langa, they're in a good place. They're in a good place. Reki and Langa, that relationship is in a good place. This whole series is kind of going through their relationship and they're fine. But with Matcha Blossom, there's so much left unsaid that I really hope they could do like a movie like with Given, where it's just a Matcha Blossom movie. I'd watch a Matcha Blossom movie, and it could be about Joe confessing to Cherry and helping Cherry to move past Adam. I would watch the crud out of that. Yes. Oh, hey, Basic Otaku, thank you for joining, and thank you. I'm glad y'all like my Shadow cosplay. I'm glad it went over well. And I'm glad y'all are out of school. Yes. But yeah, a Matcha Blossom movie or a Matcha Blossom prequel season and have Adam and Tadashi in there. That would be great. And then you could have, like, if you were doing the past, you could have Shadow cameo, like what Shadow was like in high school. You could do that. We could have a cameo with Hiromi in high school, or maybe what Hiromi's inspiration behind the clown makeup was. Why does Hiromi dress like a clown? What was his inspiration? We could have all of that included. Like, you could do so much with it. And then, you wouldn't have to have Mia or Reki or Langa necessarily in it. They could do cameos throughout. Something like that. I don't know. So with the relationship, the voice actor, the English voice actor that plays Cherry, he's gay, and the voice actor that plays Joe is bisexual. And I don't know if y'all have seen them on Twitter, but their banter is absolutely wonderful. I love it so much. I love that they invested in their characters, and we're just like, yeah, our characters are totally into each other. We're totally playing it up. Cool. We'll talk about the dub here in a minute, but I really like that about the series. And so, and Annie, Shadow in high school was the kid that nobody noticed. Could have been, and that's why he wants the clown makeup to be noticed. That very well could be, absolutely. And then the whole thing with Tadashi and Adam. I've seen so many people where they're like, what the heck does Tadashi and Adam have going on? Tadashi and Adam have each other, and we should respect that. We should be glad. Here's the thing. I am all for Tadashi and Adam being in a relationship because that will keep Adam away from Longa. That will keep Adam away from Longa if he is in a relationship with Tadashi. If Tadashi can keep him on his side, he'll leave Longa alone. Let's just do that. Hurt. They have hurt going on. Yeah. Tadashi and Adam have a very, very, very interesting relationship. I get it. I get that relationship. And people are like, why would Tadashi want to be called a dog and stuff? I'm like, well, it's kind of like a dominating, submissive relationship, sort of. And again, I'm not going to judge what they got going on because they're clearly okay. Tadashi is clearly okay with what's happening to him. So you know what? If it keeps Adam in a good place and from doing creepy stuff to Longa and Tadashi's not getting hurt by it, then sure. I will say, and we watched the Cindereki audio drama today. Originally, the creators of this show, the creators of this series, originally said that back in episode 12, when Adam said, "You're going to be my dog forever," Tadashi was supposed to woof. I don't think I could have taken it. I think I've taken this show seriously for 12 episodes, but if he had actually woofed, I think I would have lost it. Because today, with the Cindereki drama CD, when he actually did woof, I lost it. My brain broke at that point. I went down into a ball of flames and collapsed. And it was like the processing error, like the 404 signal thing stopped working. And at that point, I just broke down listening to the CD. It was too much. Yeah. And the funny thing is, if you go back and watch episode 12, in the Japanese sub, he says K. Or in the Japanese sub, he says yeah. And in the English dub, he says K. But if you rewatch that episode and you sync the woof over his lip movements, it fits. It could have fit. He could have done it. They were planning on it. They were like up until stage 12, like right before they released the episode, they were going to have him woof. And then at the last moment, they were like, "Nah, we can't do this. We can't. We're chickening out. We'll save it for the audio drama." Is the edit on YouTube, Kitsune? I'm going to have to look for that edit because I'm like, oh my God. You can just see the lip movements. And I was like, you can just see the woof. And to be fair to the English dub, what can you do there? I almost wanted the English dub to do the woof just to go through with it and say, screw it. Let's just do it. But they didn't. They were respectful to the source material, which is as they should be. But I'm totally okay. What I like about Tadashi and Adam, though, is Adam this whole time has wanted to try to find somebody the whole metaphor of him finding somebody to be in his world with him is, and I like that David Wald for the English dub has talked about this too in interviews, but the idea that Adam is gay and that he's trying to find somebody that fits in that world with him, meaning like he feels like an outsider and that nobody relates to him. And by the end of it, he finally comes to the realization that no, Tadashi was there all along. Your Eve has been there. Digi, thank you so much for joining. I hope you like the rest of the chat. Thank you for coming by. Thanks. But yeah, I feel like Adam had waited that whole time, and it's like, no, your Eve's been here from the start. It's been Tadashi. Like it just took you 12 episodes to realize it. And then it took 12 episodes for Tadashi to realize that taking away skateboarding is not what you should do. You just need to, maybe communicate and nurture that relationship in a healthy way. So yeah, Eve was there all along, as Annie says, quietly in the corner, not stating their opinions until the very, very end. Yeah. And I know the aunts, the aunts just can't stand it. They just need to go. They need to I've read some fan fiction where Adam like totally leaves the family and him and Tadashi run off together. And I'm like, that's all I need. It's fine. Who needs that? Who needs wealth? Who needs that politician status? Nah, just go hang out with your butler. Screw the aunts. Screw it. In the words of Jujutsu Kaisen and Fushiguro, screw it. So yeah, as far as somebody else had commented in the commentary, push them down the Grand Canyon. That's part of Escape the World, where the aunts go to the Grand Canyon and they somehow mysteriously don't make it back. I don't know who said that. I'm not saying any of that. But yeah, someone had commented too about Cherry's gender fluidity in the show, and I think that's really cool to bring up that they put that in the community post. But yeah, Cherry is kind of like a gender fluid character in that when Cherry is in their skate wardrobe, like the arms are shown off, it's much more masculine appearing. And then at the same time, Cherry can also be very delicate and have like the soft features and like the soft wardrobe. But then, like Irony says, you see Cherry in the high school garb and it's like a punk outfit, like has the pants, has the lip ring, has the crazy hair. Like high school Cherry is an aesthetic. I am like all about it. And I love High School Joe. High School Joe, the pre-beefcake days where High School Joe just looks like a jock, like a preppy jock. I'm like, yes, this is why we need the prequel season. This is why we need it. But I really like the subtext in the show. And I feel like it's such a cool 2021 thing that this show gets away with, is that there's so much subtext and symbolism and allegory and stuff that they can get away with in an anime like this. And it's still so accessible, and I love it. And I love that the dub has just ran with it. And they're like, nah, we're running with it. We see the subtext and we're going with it. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, want to talk about, somebody brought this up about the Sailor Moon logic of this show. And I want to touch base on that briefly. As a huge fan of Sailor Moon, we saw it in episode 2 when Shadow had the transition that was the Sailor Moon transition from Hiromi into Shadow. And then we saw it again with Adam kind of being like Tuxedo Mask with the rose and the mask. The whole idea of the identities of the S. Annie had brought up the idea that, isn't it weird, of all the characters in the show, and I'm going to poll you guys in the chat, of all the characters in the show, because we have Adam that's a real-life politician, Hiromi's a florist, Reki and Longa are students, Mia's a student, Joe runs a restaurant, Cherry is the calligraphy person, and has Carla, and then we just don't really see the other identities of the other skaters. Harry, I personally maintain my headcanon that Harry is a therapist, and he has started a Skate the Infinity, a S therapy session schedule for all these people. That's my theory, is that Harry is a therapist, a licensed therapist, and he has his master's degree, and he's just doing skateboarding as a fun thing. But I'm going to poll you guys in the chat. Of all these characters, which do you think has the actual identity that should be the most obvious? Who do you think would be the most recognized in the real world outside of the S? And Annie brought this up, and I wanted to touch base on it. Harry should be a main character in the second season. Yes, he should. We should give Harry a backstory. But Annie's saying Cherry on here. Anybody else? Probably Cherry. I didn't even think about this until Annie brought it up. But yeah, everybody was giving Adam crap on Twitter about not being recognized. Oh yeah, Reki uses his real name. I hadn't even thought of that. Reki does use his whole name, and Mia too. And Mia's like a recognized skater. So they're kids. They don't have real jobs. It's fine. I mean, they work at Dope Sketch. They do have a real job. Reki does have a real job. Mia doesn't yet. But Reki and Longa do. That's right. But Reki wants to be recognized. He wants it. Joe with the restaurant. I mean, how you gonna mistake the muscles, huh? I did think it was Cherry, though, personally. At first, I was like, well, nobody pays attention to politics. They don't care about Adam. Tadashi's a secretary. Nobody cares about him. He's in the shadows half the time. Hiromi's a florist. But I love that Cherry, like Annie says, is so desperately trying to hide his identity. Cherry is desperately trying to hide his identity. He wears the face mask. But his giant flowing pink hair that no one else has. And here's the thing. This is what made me think Cherry over Joe. Because you could argue Joe. Joe's out there shirtless. You see the hair. You see the face. You know it's Joe. But Joe is working inside the restaurant the whole time. So unless you were a patron to his restaurant, unless you walked in and looked at Joe, you'd be like, man, that Joe guy looks familiar. But unless you actually went into the restaurant, you probably wouldn't make that connection. Cherry is outside doing signings and public calligraphy demonstrations. Like the day that Reki goes and finds him in public, he's doing this giant public demonstration in front of all these people. And Reki's like, hey, Cherry. It's like, but yeah, Kaoru's out here doing this giant demonstration. He's always in front of the public doing signings, like everyone around town knows him. And he's trying to keep his identity. So it's like, it's the Sailor Moon logic where he puts the mask over his face, but he has this giant flowing pink hair and his voice. And everybody's like, I wonder who he is in real life. So that was a really good point, Annie. I'm glad you brought that up. What are the chances that skaters at the S are going to be in for interest in calligraphy? That's a good point. I mean, Joe is, but we all know why Joe is. We all know why. I love Hiromi is the only one to take the identity other than Cherry. Shadow, other than Cherry, Shadow is the only one to take the identity part seriously, where he's like, you guys don't know me. It's not me. And they're like, you just look the same, but with makeup on. It's like, oh, I absolutely love it. I love it so much. Okay. So, the English dub, I will be honest with you all. Shadow's real name, then forgotten, is Hiromi. Hiromi is his real name. The English dub. Oh my gosh. So I will be honest. I'm usually not a dub fan. I don't mean that. I usually don't watch dubs if I start with the subs. Does that make sense? Because I end up getting disappointed. It's sort of like if you watch something the first time and then you watch a different version of it, you're like, oh, it's not the same. So there's been some shows that I've only watched the dub for because I really like the dub and I watched it first. So Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I watched the dub first and I love it. And I've not watched the sub of it. I've only watched the dub. Or on High School Host Club, I love the dub. I like the sub too, mainly because Miyano Mamoru's in it, but I like the dub a lot. Honestly, Yuri on Ice, I watched the dub first, and the dub is a precious gem. And this is another reason why Skate the Infinity is a spiritual successor to Yuri on Ice, because this Yuri on Ice dub is amazing, and the Skate the Infinity dub is amazing. I am so glad y'all convinced me to watch the dub, because at first I was like, no, I don't know. I don't think I want to watch it. And then so many of you were like, you need to watch the dub. And I was like, oh. And yes, all of this homoerotic subtext, the dub people were like, it's subtext, but is it? And I was like, okay. And I love the David Wald. David Wald as Adam is perfect. It is perfect voice casting. Like, he is the perfect voice for it. It's wonderful. And then the voice actors for Joe and Cherry are great. Reki and Long as voice actors are, all the voice actors in that series are perfectly cast. I love that in both the sub and the dub, Hiromi or Shadow's voice actor changes their voice. Like in the Japanese sub and in the English dub, there's times where it's Hiromi. He's like, oh, hello, how is everything going? And then he turns to Shadow. He's like, what is all this? And it's like, yes, please. I love that people make fun of the dub for Skate because they're like, oh, they've taken all the subtext and made it text. I honestly, you know what? Going back and rewatching it, having watched these episodes, because when I react to a show, I pay so much attention to the subtitles because I'm trying to get the context and I'm trying to like pick up on the dialogue so I can talk about it with you all later. But in the subs for Skate versus the dub, there's not really any intention changed. Like, as far as content goes, the intention and the meaning is all still there. They just change a little bit of the wording to match the lip movements in English. And yes, the emotional context changes a bit. But like the whole bitches and bros and non-binary hoes, in the Japanese sub, it was, hey, people who like skateboarding. I mean, that still applies. I mean, it's just a little bit of an artistic, creative license there to make it a little bit more niche-y and catchy and kind of, you know, just fit better. What are you saying, Annie? The German dubs. But yeah, Malik, David Wald, he went all in on Adam. And I feel like with that type of character, with Adam's character, you have to go all in. Like the voice actor in Japanese, the one that does Dio, that does Adam, went all in on his character. And with that type of voice acting, you have to be dedicated, especially with Adam. I haven't heard German Adam. Oh, now I want to go hear German Adam. So I might do that when I get off of here. I might go look up some German dubs for Skate. But I just really like the English dub. I thought the voice actors, you could tell the voice actors were taking this show seriously, but it was also like really close to their hearts. Like you could tell they just really felt for this show. And it was like, that's the kind of voice acting I like, is when the voice actors know what they're getting into and they have fun with it, but it still like fits the integrity of the show and still works. It's like, that's wonderful. So I was really, really happy with the dub. If you've not watched the English dub for Skate the Infinity, you should go watch it, because it's the only thing they haven't dubbed is 9.5. They didn't do Crazy Rock Jam, but honestly, it's just a recap episode, so they didn't need to. But the voice actor for Reki in the English dub, because I love Reki's voice actor in Japanese. I love him. He does such a good job as Reki with the langa. And I was like so afraid that the dub was not going to get a voice actor that could go that hard with Reki's character too. And Reki's English dub actor is so soft and intimate in moments. And I mean, Longa's is like a snow-covered cinnamon roll. But Reki's voice actor in English is really, really good. And then David Wald, I think David Wald knew the content and knew what they could do with this show, and he really made it really special. And Tadashi's voice actor in English, nailing that like kind of deadpan emotion, but not emotion level. Like Brandon Johnson voices Tadashi, and Brandon Johnson's in shows like BoJack, so it's like, or more Rick and Morty, not BoJack, but Rick and Morty. So I'm like, what a weird transition for you to go from Rick and Morty to being in this show and playing Tadashi. It's very interesting. So yeah, other things I want to talk to y'all about. Annie brought up the idea of maybe having a skate drinking game. That sounds terrible, because it would be highly effective. And I'm just having cherry Dr. Pepper, so I'm not actually drinking during this. But I think a skate drinking game would be terrifying. Because could you just imagine? Could you imagine? I mean, just thinking about it, what could we do? If you had to take a drink, okay, we'll set up the parameters here. So things you had to do, you would have to do a drink every time Reki says longa, or longa says Reki. We'd all be done by 5 minutes into episode 3. Drink every time that Reki screams longa. Take a shot every time Adam does something slightly creepy. We're dead, guys. This is already over. Every time Adam says Eve, drink. Yes. Every time somebody wipes out, but guys, we're dead. Like, we've not gotten 20 seconds into making up this drinking game and we're done. We're just done. Drinking every time Joe has a girl on the arm. You have to waterfall every time Mia says slime. That's just, it's all over from here. By the time we make it to episode 11, we're all done. We don't even make it to episode 12. You'd have to take a drink every time Joe and Cherry start bickering, take a shot. Well, we're not past episode 3 at that point. We've been to the hospital for alcohol poisoning at this point. I would say also you could have a drink every time classical music plays next to Adam. That one could be too. We have become the coffin skateboard. Yeah, see, a drinking game for Skate the Infinity would be so easy, but so deadly that there's a reason it doesn't exist. There's a reason it doesn't exist. It'd be too much to handle. Oh my gosh, every time Adam dances or claps his hands, you'd have to, basically anytime these characters do anything is going to be, and here's the thing. Oh my gosh, every time Reki and Longa look longingly at each other. Oh man, a dog. Or if you're watching the English dub, every time Adam calls Tadashi a puppy. Oh, puppy, look. Like, that's still one of my favorite things. Here's the thing. We talk about this and all of these different moments that happen over and over in the series. The funny thing is, those moments never seem repetitive or get old. That's the one thing that I love. Because, in some anime, stuff happens over and over again, and it becomes kind of tropish. It becomes kind of overdone, and you're like, oh, is this happening again? But in this series, it doesn't. It all is endearing. And yeah, Sketchy the Fox. Every time Sketchy the Fox fights someone. Aw. So yeah, we may do I may make a fun rule game thing. I may go back through this chat and get all of your guys' suggestions and put them together into a document and put it as a community post and say, here is our Skate the Infinity drinking game that you can do with your friends. It does not have to involve alcoholic drinks. You can have non-alcoholic beverages as well. You can just take bites of ice cream every time stuff happens, and you'll be through a whole quart by the time you get done with the season. Like, we'll just do something like that. But yeah, I think I might actually do that. I'll go back through this chat and compile these all together. And then every time Jerry talks about Carla, oh God, guys. Yeah, I'm going to compile all these together and put it in a community post and say, here you go. Here's a game you can play with your friends. And then, no, Annie, it's too late. It's too late. We can't go back now. It's going to be an actual game with rules. You can't sue me because it wasn't patented. So we're just going to actually, hot sauce. Oh yeah. This doesn't have to be a drinking game. It could be hot sauce, peppers. You can substitute this with whatever food, beverage you would like to. Absolutely. We're making this joke canon. It's going to be real. I'm excited about that. So I did want to rank the episodes with you all. And this is hard, right? Because how do you rank the episodes? How do you rank them? Because honestly, from best to least, I'm curious to know your thoughts as well. I would say least favorite episodes, obviously 9.5. Crazy Rock Jam. Easy. Toss it at the bottom. Not recap episode. Not even real. Not even going to do it. But then from there, it gets quite hard, right? Because every episode has something really good going for it. It's hard, right? So if I had to do episodes in a row, I know a lot of you have different opinions about how do you rate perfection? That's it, right, Akane? How do you rate it? If you guys go on my anime list, this is a 10. I mean, people said that there's parts of episode 12 that could be better, and I agree. Some of you said that episode 11 is where it should end, and I won't argue with you. There's a lot of episode 12 that I do love, but yeah, it's so hard. Like the episodes, it's hard because you have episodes that are the best and episodes that you react to the most. It's hard to rate it. But if I had to, we'll go through this. So episode 9.5, I'm going to put it at the bottom, toss it away. If I had to pick, I would say the next episode, and this is nothing against the episode, but episode 3 would be next at the bottom, only because it's towards the beginning of the series and we don't have a lot of interactions with all the characters together. It's mainly just Mia's introduction and origin story. And I love Mia, don't get me wrong, but it was really self-contained and it didn't really expand to the rest of the story and plot. So I'd put number 3 next, and that's hard. It's hard. And then it gets more difficult from there. My rating system would be episodes that made me react a certain way and that had a big significance to the plot, things like that. So here's my thing. My next episodes would be, I'm going to put these, listing these in order so I can go through them. Okay. Next, I would honestly say, and don't hate me all, but I'm going to say episode 2 and then episode 6. Episode 2, only because as cinnamon roll, sunsetty as it was, and it gave us the foundations of Renga, which we shall all be grateful for till the end of time. It was just the beginnings of it. It was that wholesome, like sun glow beginning of the series. And it was just the start of their relationship. We get much better episodes with Renga later on. So I'm going to put number 2 there. And then I love the beach episode. Don't get me wrong. The beach episode has the Joe moments with Mia and Cherry and him oogling Cherry under the umbrella. It has Longa doing the cross. It has the moment. The only thing that makes number 6 go down for me in terms of my favorite is that the whole thing with the spirit, the mud people, that part I was kind of like, you just wanted them to skateboard in that moment. You just wanted a reason for them to skateboard. I still like episode 6, and a lot of you, like Malik, you're saying it's your go-to episode. Yeah, it's the feel-good episode before the fall. Like, of course. Yeah. Oh, we'll talk about the car. So yeah, I would say 3, 2, 6. And then after that, it gets so hard. It gets so hard, right? The first half is great, But the second part, I say, I don't know, Annie. The second part gets so crazy. I'm all about the chaos. I would say that after that, oh, this is so hard. This is really hard. Okay, let it be known, guys, that at this point, we've done episodes 9.5, 3, 2, and 6. After that, all these episodes are interchangeable. I'm taking the safe cop out and saying they're interchangeable. You guys can disagree with me. This is hard. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say 8. 8 maybe next. As much as I like the introduction of Snake, as much as I love the introduction of Snake into the episode, and we get some of Adam's backstory, the fact that it ended with Joe and Longa about to skateboard, and then we get it cut off, I was like, are we really doing this? And then it was still the point where Reki and Longa were kind of in a bad place, and I was like, So yeah, 8 would be next, and then I'd say episode 1, because episode 1's amazing. Like, it's one of the better first episodes of a series, and it got me really into the show. But it's, again, the introduction episode. It's the very first episode of the show. So there's so much they build off of it from there. Now, then Forgotten. I will say that 9.5 is a recap episode. I usually hate recap episodes, and that one was fine. So the fact that I say it's fine is a good thing, because usually recap episodes, I'm like, get them out of here. Don't need them. Then I would say episode 9 would come after that. We did get Shadow in episode 1 as his best. That's true. Episode 9, I'd say, would be next. So we have our top 5 episodes. Or no, we're at top 6. Ooh. I'm going to say we have our top 6 episodes, which are 4, 5, 7, 10, 11, 12. Okay. I will say episode 7, I'm going to put as number, it's hard. It's between episode 7 and episode 12. Episode 12's epilogue is really cute and wonderful, and I really liked the moments in episode 12, but there are things that I would change. So I might put episode 12 as 6th, maybe. Although the part where Adam getting the tailored suit done is really, really funny and really, really good. It's like, do I choose chaos or do I choose sadness and pain? Do I choose happiness and chaos, or do I choose sadness and pain? Because it's episodes 12 and episode 7. They're two sides of the coin. Which do I pick? One more than the other. Which do you guys like, episode 12 or episode 7 better of those two? I don't know. It's almost tied. It's kind of pain. Embrace the chaos. We're kind of like, it's all over the board. I'm going to say it's tied between episode 7 and 12 for the 5th place spot. It's tied. It's tied because on the one hand, I love episode 7 because of all the emotions, but it's painful. It's so good, but it's painful. I would say episode 7. I probably watch episode 7. I rewatch episode 7 less than episode 12 because episode 12 has a happy ending and has much more chaos. So I usually will watch episode 12 more than episode 7, but episode 7 is more powerful and impactful. So it's like, pick your poison. Which do you want? You know, and the music in 12 is very good too. So it's like, do you embrace your pain with 7 and love it for that pain? Or do you embrace the chaos in 12 and are like, it's hard. It's a hard decision. So then we're down to the last 4, and they're kind of episodes 4 and 5 and episodes 10 and 11 are kind of 2-pair episodes that go hand in hand. They're very good hand in hand. I'm going to say episodes 4 and 5 are next. They're so good. Episodes 4 and 5 are so good back to back. Like, I can watch those 2 back to back all the time. The introduction of Adam, Reki's duel with Adam, him like getting scraped across the floor, Adam and the first time he used the love hug, and then Longa versus Adam, the angel coming up over Adam's head, and the wings. Yes. Okay, Jacob, thank you. The episode that had Longa with wings. Oh, that's episode 5. It's so good. That was probably my 3rd pick. It's episode 5, and it's so good. Like this, the music and everything, and when the light flickers and Adam's just looking across, like, and everything snaps. It's episodes 4 and 5 are a perfect parallel to episodes 10 and 11. There's a lot of parallels. And you could say episodes 11 and 12 are because you had Reki versus Adam and then Adam versus Longa. And in 11 and 12, you had Adam versus Reki and Adam versus Longa. You had the same thing, only it's the start of the series versus the end. So your context totally changes. And I like that in episodes 4 and 5, Adam is this intimidating, broody, dark character that's so scary. And by episode 11 and 12, Adam's a joke and Reki's the hero and Longa's the prodigious skater. It's like, oh yeah, awesome. I just love it. I love the parallels there. It's very, very cool. So, but if I had to pick, I would say episode 10 is my second favorite and episode 11 is my favorite. And I only put episode 10 below episode 11 because of the skateboard hitting his face. I'm like, ugh. Adam hitting, I love the flashback in episode 10. I love Longa and Reki making up. It's just like, ugh, I'm losing my mind. It's episode 9, isn't it? That Adam hits Cherry in the face with the skateboard. And then episode 10 is when he gets taken to the hospital. Isn't that right? Am I right there? It's episode 9 is when Cherry gets hit with the skateboard. Episode 10 is when Reki gets hit with the car by Tadashi because we didn't need enough people getting injured in this show. Yeah, episode 10, Hiromi gets hit in the face with a bat, and Reki gets hit by a car. How many of us thought that Reki was going to get hit by a car in this series? How many of us thought that Reki was going to get taken to a love hotel by Tadashi? Not this girl. Oh my gosh. Yes, you're right. Yeah, it was episode 9 that he got hit with the skateboard. Episode 10 is where he's recovering and him and Hiromi are kind of like end up in the hospital together. Yeah, what a weird episode. But episode 11 is so good because we've almost got isekai. Yeah, before Renga could become canon, the show was trying to stop it, but it couldn't. It was love, damn it, and it was too powerful. Oh my gosh. Which, honestly, if you think about it, it was almost foreshadowed that you could kind of view the foreshadowing of Reki getting hit with the car, because in episode 2, Longa skated under the truck, and the truck just barely missed him. And so Reki was like, oh, be careful, don't get hit. And Longa was on his skateboard, and then the time that Reki gets hit, he's not on his skateboard. Just goes to show you. And then, yeah, the heartbreaking scene with Mia happened in episode 10, Annie. That's right. Yeah, so episode 11, though. Episode 11, I feel, is like what the whole series was building up to, because it was Reki. Reki had spent this whole series doubting himself and questioning his worth as a skater. And does he need to be with all of these people? And is he worthy of being with all these people? And we finally get the answer to that in episode 11. It's like, yes, everyone has their traits. Cherry has Carla and his technology. Joe has his buff six-pack and squat powers that can produce glass skateboards, apparently, and six-packs that can produce skateboarding passes. But Joe has his muscles and the brick break move. That's a Pokemon move, but like the brick break that he can do. I mean, Joe has his muscles. Cherry has his technology, and Carla. Longa has his fearlessness and his like fast learning capabilities. Adam's just a really crazy skater, and he's good. Tadashi's a good skater who's practiced and is consistent. And then Reki is an inventor, and he has the ingenuity to do the right skateboarding tricks when he needs them. So it's like, I love that Reki finally got recognized, and he nearly beat Adam, and it was so worth it. I absolutely loved it. Yeah. And then, like, the whole metaphor, the symbolism, Adam falling in the mud. It's like what the fandom wanted this whole time. It was like sploot. Like just Adam falling in the mud. And then Cherry finally getting to laugh. And it almost felt like Cherry was moving on. It felt like that was the moment of Cherry letting go and moving forward of that. It's like Reki gaining his confidence, Renga being canon. And then, and then the moment that Longa stood up for Reki, like when Adam was like about to come over and Joe's like, hey, the beef's over. And Longa like steps in there. It's like, yes. It's like, that's right. You protect your boyfriend. I'm like, I did feel bad when the people were calling Adam pitiful and they were like, he's a loser. And it's like, oh, that sucks. But he did deserve to fall in the mud twice. He deserved that. He nearly killed a guy. He deserved that. It was nice dropping him down a peg, you know. That was just so wonderful. So yeah, that's the thing about the series. We had such a hard time going through these episodes because they're all good. Like there's great parts in every episode. I can honestly say that rewatching the series, it's kind of like, again, Yuri on Ice. It's one of those series that you can just, the rewatchability of the show in the subs and the dub is really, really high because there's just something good about each episode that I can pick apart and say, oh yeah, this episode's when this happened. And that's the one thing about this show. There wasn't really any filler. Like that's what I was afraid of. I was afraid of with this episode and being 12 episodes long. I was like, oh, is there going to be like some useless fluff and filler? But no, there was so much packed into each episode. Like we had, like my reactions for the series were an hour long per episode because there was just so much to talk about. And I love that. Jacob, you bash someone with a skateboard. Sometimes you got to end up in a mud puddle. You nearly commit homicide. Got to get in the mud. Like just, you know, yeah, he definitely deserved to fall in the mud for sure. He deserved to have, because it was like, and I didn't get to talk about this in the reaction, but the title of the episode, The King versus Nobody, you're led to believe when the episode starts that it's Adam the King versus Reki the Nobody. But by the end of it, Reki's the king and Adam's the nobody. And it's like, oh, show, you're so wonderful. I love it. I love the symbolism. I love the parallels. It's all absolutely great. Annie, you say, I think SK8 has a higher rewatch value because it has better characters in Yuri. Yeah, I would say that that there's really good characters in Yuri on Ice, but that there is more good characters or more in-depth characters in SK8 than there are in Yuri. And I can't wait to talk with you all about Yuri on Ice because I definitely will probably make some SK8 comparisons in there. But yeah, really, really good. I feel bad for Adam's outfit. There's so much effort. Okay, here's the thing too. And I've talked about this with you all in the reactions, but think about this. Tadashi is Adam's personal assistant. Tadashi has to drive Adam everywhere. So obviously Tadashi has to drive Adam in that outfit every single place, and hell of a dry cleaning and tailor bill. Absolutely. But here's the thing too. When Adam got that final outfit for episode 12, he not only had to take it home, but he had to try it on, had to wear it around the mansion, and then had to get in the car with Tadashi to drive him to the S in this skin-tight black and blue outfit that's backless with a skeletal scythe and cloak in a limousine with him. And Tadashi just has to sit there and just be like, how's it going? Like, Tadashi loves a diva. Mm-hmm. And people have said, one of my favorite things about if you think that Tadashi and Adam are in a relationship is, and I love this on Twitter. I just absolutely love this dynamic that's come out. People have been talking about, they're like, Adam is the type of character that you think is a top. No, he's not. He's a diva, and he is not the top of this relationship. He is a dramatic individual. And I am all for the headcanon that Tadashi is the top of this relationship. I'm like, I am fully on board that headcanon. I'm like, yeah, you all, Adam wants to project that he's in control and on top of the situation, but he is not. He is not. And I will argue that to the ends of the earth. I'm like, no. He is a dramatic man and is not, Yeah. So who knows? I don't know. So with the Cindereki drama, the audio drama, we watched that today. What madness, what insanity, what a fever dream. The fact that that's canon, the fact that is canon, that people in the studio were like, you know what we should do? We should do an audio drama. And you could have made that audio drama about anything. It could have been about anything, right? But the people said, you know what? Let's make an audio drama and have it be about Cinderella. And Reki is going to be Cinderella and be in love with Longa the prince. And Joe's going to be his fairy godmother. and Mia and Cherry are going to be the stepsisters, and Hiromi's going to be the stepfather, and Adam's going to be the narrator, but the end is an evil demon emperor that turns Tadashi into a dog to go kidnap Longa and bring him to him. That was the pitch. And the creator said, yes. Like, can you, what? It was insanity. Absolute insanity. Like, what the heck, show? And that got me thinking, and you all have had some amazing ideas in the chat and in the comments for the, maybe they played our drinking game. I'm starting to think that they did before they came up with this audio drama, Annie. They played this drinking game. But here's the thing. You all came up with some amazing ideas for what if they made an audio drama series and just did all the different fairy tales. So you obviously have Cindereki. Annie said you could do like Shadow as the Little Mermaid, that maybe he tries to get with the manager and does that. I didn't get to talk about Shadow. My headcanon is that Shadow is pansexual. Shadow is pan and is CEO sexual and is just really into managers. That's my headcanon. That is it. Tara, I won't reveal anything else, but you need to watch the audio drama. It's insanity. It's canon insanity. Yes. Shadow could be Beauty and the Beast. Also, Annie had a really cool idea of doing like, what if you did Little Red Riding Hood, but you had Cherry as Red Riding Hood and Joe was the wolf, and I guess Joe would be the hunter. I know, Annie, you said that Adam would be the hunter and Joe would be the wolf, but in the actual story, the wolf gets chopped up by the hunter, so it would be Adam as the wolf and Cherry would be Little Red Riding Hood, because Little Red Riding Hood gets kind of creepily hit on by the wolf, and then the hunter has to save her at the end. You could do that. You could do Sleeping Beauty as Match Blossom. I also really like Match Blossom, where it's Rapunzel and Cherry is Rapunzel and Joe is like Flynn, like Eugene, where has to go save. Oh my gosh! And what if Joe like cuts Cherry's hair off at the end? Because I've seen some fan art on Twitter of Cherry Blossom with short hair. What if it just cuts his hair off at the end? That would be amazing. And like Cherry gets a haircut. I don't know. And then obviously Beauty and the Beast would be an easy one to do. And you could pretty much you could do Shadow for Beauty and the Beast. You could do Tada Eye. You could do Cherry Match Blossom. You could do all those. So all the fairy tales, we could do so many audio dramas with that. My thing is a hoodwinked rendition. Yes. Cherry would kill him. That'd be the twist, Annie. The twist is that you think that Joe as the hunter is going to kill the big bad wolf, but then Cherry takes the axe. And it's like, instead of an axe, it's a skateboard. Instead, it would be like Adam's up and comings from hitting Cherry with the skateboard. It's reversed so that now Cherry has a skateboard and takes it from Joe and just hits Adam with the skateboard. And it's like payback. Sure. We could do that. If we did Snow White, Longa would be Snow White and Reki would be the prince and Adam would be the evil person with the apple. Ooh, and Tadashi could be the mirror. Ooh, that would be really good. That's a good idea. I like that. My theory is if we can't do a season 2 yet, and I get it, if we can't do a movie yet or an OVA, I'm all for them doing these outrageous audio dramas because they're not hard to do in production. It's just them in a studio recording. It's just the writing and the recording, and then the production is putting them and making them and distributing them. So if we have to do that with this series until we get a season 2 or a movie, and we have to do these outlandish audio dramas, sure. As long as it's canon and it's, these same characters, I'm all for it. And if we did like fairy tales and Skate the Infinity fairy tales, I'm all about it because it fits the niche of weird humor that this show has. I am all for it. So, oh my gosh, you guys. So that leads me up here to the end of this thing here. I wanted to ask you all what questions you guys had for me about the show, if there was any questions that you all had left. Because I want to talk a little bit about the show that's replacing this and then about the upcoming live streams that are going to happen here. So we could make our own audio drama. Yeah. I wish the English dub should make some audio dramas. That'd be great. Do you guys have any other questions about the show before I talk about the series replacing them? I know it's so early in the morning for some of you all, if you're still here. I feel like we've talked about so much with this show. And there's still like, I feel like on Twitter and on the Discord and on here with the comments, there's still stuff we're going to talk about for Skate for a long time. And that's the great thing about that. That's the one good thing about these social media sites is that we can keep the discourse and the dialogue going even after this. But I'll look on here and check on here if you guys have any other questions about the show. So I did a poll to replace Skate the Infinity. Skate the Infinity was kind of an outlier. Oh, favorite skateboard. Oh, yes, and Happy Pride Month. Yes, indeed. I'll talk about that, Robin, here in just a second. I want to bring up Pride Month, too. But favorite skateboard. Ooh, that's a really good question, Phelan. I find it ironic and interesting that Adam's skateboard in the past was similar to the skateboard that was similar to the skateboard that Reki made Longa, but also similar to the skateboard that Tadashi has, which is just a silver board with the silver snake on it. Honestly, that's a hard question because they're all so really good. There's parts that I like about. I'm gonna say it's Adam's board only because it has the heart with the swords in it above the chrysanthemum and the symbolism and the fact that I'm a Southern country girl. So the fact that it has bull horns coming out on it speaks, and I'm a Taurus, so it speaks to me. And Adam's a Taurus too, so we're kindred spirits in that regard. So the Longa's board I really like because of the Yeti. The Yeti and the fact that Reki made it and it has the spinny wheels. Longa's would be my second choice. And then I'd say probably Reki's board because it's got all the stickers and it's got the cool symbol and it looks just used. There's something about Tadashi's skateboard that's interesting to me, and I think it's because it's so plain. And here's the thing. It's the exact opposite of Adam's board. Like when Reki was going through the different types of skateboards, he's like, oh, you can get a street board, which is the most basic for tricks. And that's like kind of what Longa and Reki have. You could do the long board, which is what Adam has. And then you have the short little cruiser board for going around streets in town. And that's what Tadashi has. He has a little cruiser with the gray snake. Which character do I relate to the most? Then Forgotten. I wanted to do the cosplay of Shadow for so long. Since like episode 10, I was like, I want to cosplay as Shadow for this stream because if I was a character in this series, it would probably be Shadow. Because the adult of adults, like I talked about this earlier in the chat, but if we go on a trip with my friends or anything, I am Shadow. I am that person booking things and being like, hey, we got to stick to this. We got to go do this. Okay. Won't you drive? Like, yeah. Oh, hi. Fun fact, Joe's skateboard has cherry blossoms flower-shaped wheels. Oh my God. I need to go look up this board now. Hi, you came in clutch at the end of this chat to bring up this amazing fact. Oh my God, yes. The fact that Joe and Cherry's boards have similar elements and the fact that Adam's board has stuff with Tadashi. Oh my God, I can't take it. Okay. Yep. Matcha Blossom. It's so lit. I love it. Oh my God, that's amazing. So amazing. Okay. So y'all are bringing up Happy Pride Month. Yes. I wanted to do some things kind of to celebrate Pride Month because I have friends and family in the LGBTQ plus community and A plus community, and I wanted to celebrate that. And so I am going to do a soapbox episode talking about Yuri on Ice because obviously there's also a series that I just read that I'm going to include a link to it in the actual review of it. But there's this really cool blog. If you go to it, it's actually one of the patrons on Patreon. His name is Esteban. He does a blog called Comics and Queries. It's comicsandqueries.com. I'm going to link it when I do this review. But it's basically a blog he does talking about different series that deal with same-sex relationships. And it's really cool. Like there's been some really cool suggestions on there. But one of the series that I checked out, it's called Check Please. It's not a manga. It's a Western production. It's a U.S. created series called Check Please. It's so good. I'm going to be doing a review over it within the month because it's so dang good. And I can't wait to talk to you all about it. It's my first like non-manga review, which is weird, but it definitely fits. If you like manga, you're going to like Check Please. And if you like BL series, you're going to like Check Please. It's just, It's not NSFW in any way. It's very accessible, but it's so dang good. Oh, Kase-san and Morning Glories. Yes, that was the other thing, Malik. I am in the process of trying to maybe do a review of that, maybe do a reaction to that movie, possibly this month, because, you know, it's Pride Month, possibly doing a review of that. I'm going to hopefully have that out by the end of the month. Yay. Yes, and Phelan, Check Please is about hockey. It's about hockey. It's so good. I can't wait to talk to you all about it. But yes. Yeah, so there's that. So I've got lots of stuff planned, and then it's probably going to extend on into July, because 1 month is not enough for Pride. We need to extend that a little bit more. So maybe it'll get into July too. But so there's going to be lots of things that I'm going to be working on to react to, and I'm really, really excited about it. It's summer, so I've got a little bit extra time, which is good. So I'm going to be doing a little bit more reactions and stuff recorded to have on like Fridays and stuff with My Hero Academia on those same days. But we did do a poll. July is just Pride 2. Pride Part 2, Electric Boogaloo, right? So we did do a poll to replace Skate. Skate was kind of an outlier in all this, right? Because I did a sports anime. When I started my first sports anime poll, there was a tie, and it was Run with the Wind and Free. And I've been watching Free for about 10 months. Like, it's been nearly a year, y'all. And Free is going to end in July, which is insane. Pride, the extended edition. I like that. I like that, Malik. But Free is about to end in July. So in July, we'll have a live stream about Free, which that's going to be like this live stream. There's going to be so much to talk about. Oh my God. But Free and Run with the Wind and Free won the first poll. And then Skate the Infinity won the second poll. And Skate the Infinity, it's a sports anime technically, but it's not like the high school sports anime that we typically see, right? So, oh, Annie, you need to catch up with Free. It's amazing. I love it so much. It's my comfort anime too. But we did a poll. I recounted the votes. And it is Ace of the Diamond that did end up winning. And I will tell you all, I have a secret about Ace of the Diamond that I'm going to share with you all next week when those first couple of episodes come out. But I'm going to be watching more than one episode per week with Ace of the Diamond because there's so many episodes. So I'm watching more than one episode. So there's that. And 2, I have watched the first couple of episodes now, and it's good. I didn't know what to expect, but I'm already like, okay, cool. It's totally different than Skate the Infinity. Totally different, but not in a bad way, in a good way. So yeah, it's definitely a sports anime. We are going to the roots sports anime. But here's the thing. We're also about to end number 6 here in a little bit, in a couple weeks. And I've got something planned already for what's going to replace it. So I'm keeping that a secret for now. But yeah, we'll have a new show. So up in July, we're going to have 2 more live streams coming up next month. At the end of this month, we'll have number 6. We'll do a live stream on it. And then Free, we'll have a live stream on it in July. So those are the 2 next live streams that we're going to be doing. The Free poll is going to be public, the one to replace Free. And it's going to be up at the end of June. So I'm really sad that Free's ending. I'm sad that this show ended. I'm just like, but yeah. So Wave, I've heard Wave's good. I have not seen it. But yeah, if you guys have any other, I still love that Pride, the extended edition. That's July. Absolutely. It's going to be, Phelan, it is going to be weird not I've reacted to Free probably more than any show at this point that I've ever watched. I mean, we still got like a month left of, like a month and a half left of Free. So we still got a while of Free left. But it's going to be, I'm going to be kind of heartbroken because I've watched Free for like I said, nearly a year now, week to week. So it's going to be weird. It's going to be strange. I don't like it. Someone already sent me links to like audio CDs. I'm like, whoa, hold on. We got to wait. It's just going to be odd. But at least there's going to be movies. There's going to be 2 free movies left in fall of 2021 and 2022. So at least it's not totally over, right? Super Lovers. No, I have not. I am writing that down high as to put it on the list. I have a notebook here by my computer of anime and manga recommendations, and I make my polls based on those lists and what y'all vote for. So, Najee, no worries. The show may be about to end, but the episodes are still there. The reactions are still there. You're all good. You're all good. Plenty of time to catch up. Plenty of time. Nah. I have a never-ending list of anime that I will get through slowly but surely. There's so many recommendations. There's so many, and it's just going to take time, and that's all right. If the last year and a half has taught us anything, we're fine. We can do it. Is there any genre of shows you're going for? Yes, Malik. The free replacement is not sports because we've done sports with Skate. The free replacement is going to be romance BL based. Yes, I've had a lot of recommendations and a lot of suggestions. So it's going to be more romantic because I want to watch more and more romantic stuff for free. And so what I usually do for these polls is that I get a giant list of the genre. I put it on Patreon, and the patrons, they narrow it down to the top 5 or 6. And then those top 5 or 6 go on a public poll. So you all get to vote for the top 5 or 6 that the patrons ended up narrowing it down to. And then we just start the process over when that series ends. So if you all noticed, this Skate Infinity replacement poll, in the poll that Skate won, March Comes In Like a Lion, was the one that nearly beat it. And then this time around, the patrons didn't vote. It wasn't in the top 5. So yeah, I have not seen a lot of romance anime either than Forgotten. That's why I wanted to do a romance poll to replace free, because I honestly have seen mostly shonen, mostly action, or mostly sports anime at this point. I haven't seen a lot of romance. I guess Nozaki-kun would be probably the only, and Fruits Basket, the manga, would be probably the only like romantic things I've really watched or read. Well, Twittering Birds. Twittering Birds is romance, kind of, and pain, and trauma. Maybe it's not romance. Let me rethink that. Yeah. Hey, Wushin, I am still going. It's the Skate Infinity poll. How could we not still be going? We didn't break the internet this time, so that was good. I say that. But yeah, Maid-sama. Okay. Maid-sama, you say. And Bloom Into You. Ooh, okay. Y'all are giving me some good adaptations to add to these polls. I'm interested. Violet Evergarden. Okay. I've heard Violet Evergarden is good. And Violet Evergarden is the same company that does free. Funny that. But yeah, most of the stuff I watch is either, it's the weirdest. I already have Kaguya-sama set for the poll. Nathalie. I will say, honestly, I have a weird spectrum for what I watch. It's either like BL or it's the most shonen of shonen. There's like no in between. So I'm hoping that this poll for free will give some in betweens, because with Skate, Ace of the Diamond is like total sports anime, like straight up sports anime. And I wanted to do something totally different for free. So doing something that's romance seemed like a good option. But yes, I do like, and dark psychological. That's where a lot of my favorites have come in so far. So, yeah. But yeah, so like I said, the free poll is going to be up in July. And then we'll do a live stream for number 6 probably at the end of the month, and then a lot into July, and then a live stream for free in July. So those are probably the next 2 shows to have a live stream with them later on in July for this. But oh my gosh, you guys. I cannot believe some of you have spent your wee hours of the night and wee hours into the morning talking with me about this insane little show that I think has taken Twitter by storm, because my whole Twitter feed is honestly nothing but Haikyuu and Skate the Infinity memes. And there's Modao Zushi thrown in there, but it's like 50% Haikyuu, 25% Skate, like 20% Modao Zushi, and like 5% whatever else is happening in the world. Like that's my Twitter stream, my Twitter feed. It's great. Oh, hi. Have I seen Bleach yet? Oh, friend. Yes. Yes, you can't see on that shelf back there, but there's about 50 volumes of Bleach there. And one day many, many days down the road, I will gather up enough courage to make a 5-hour soapbox about bleach. Oh, that was like the first shonen I ever got into. Bleach. Oh, goodness. But my live streams are when I'm at work. Hey, if it helped you pass the time at work, I am glad to have helped with that. That's always a good thing. But you all, thank you so much for sticking with me in this chat. I'm going to make the rules to Annie's drinking game for skate, and or you can substitute anything with drinking. I'm going to make those rules and make it into a community post. And yes, Wushin, Heaven's Official Blessing, it's already got a spot. It's going to take Modazushi's place, so it's already guaranteed. Like, that's already going to happen. That's always set in stone. But I'm so excited for that. But yes. And then Modazushi has got some romance elements in it too, right? So thank you all so much. You guys make this so much fun. Oh, Nathalie, holy cow. Nathalie, you remember I added a Bleach AMV on my old channel. Bless its heart, my old channel. I lost all those AMVs and I weep because I think about all of those. But yeah, I was pretty darn obsessed. It was a Stark AMV, and then of course Rangoku and Jin. I'm not going to get started talking about Bleach because if I start talking about Bleach, I will go on for 4 hours and will never stop. So one day we will do a live stream discussion of Bleach and a soapbox of it, and I will air all my grievances at that time. But I'm not ready. I'm not ready for it. It's only been 5 years since the series ended. You think I would be, but I'm not. So, you guys, well, Jacob, you should read Bleach, but then, there's so many caveats. I won't say any more. No, you guys aren't getting it out of me today. Nah. We're going to save it. I have so much I love about Bleach and so much, okay. All right. Not going on a Bleach tangent. I'm going to control myself, but y'all are amazing. I'm so glad you spent your evening and early morning with me talking about skate. This has been so much fun. And I can't wait for us to get more skate content because I think we will. I think it's been popular enough in Japan that they're going to do something else because they've still been having events and interviews and things happen past it that I know y'all keep talking about Bleach in the chat, and I'm just like, I'm not going to be baited. You can throw out your lures. It's not going to work. Yes, then Forgotten manga is expensive. That is the one thing. It is. But it's worth it, right? If you have a series that you love, that's the thing. But yeah, guys. So yeah, next week we're going to start Ace of the Diamond on Thursdays. I'm really excited about it. And then also this weekend, Saturday, I'm starting a new series. Jujutsu Kaisen has ended. And so Attack on Titan is going to start on Saturday. So excited for that too. That's going to be fun as well. I am really, really excited. As you know what, a skate game? Interesting. Keep resisting. Yes. So, yeah. But other than that, guys, My Hero Academia is coming out tomorrow, and I am going to have a surprise on here. On YouTube, there is a surprise video coming out tomorrow afternoon that was not scheduled, but I did it anyway. Those on Patreon already know what it is, but don't spoil. May have something to do with banana fish. I don't know. But yeah, Attack on Titan's going to get wild. It's going to be crazy. I'm so excited. So thank you all so much. Let's keep the feelings, Malik. Yes. Oh my gosh. If it wouldn't be copyrighted, I would play the palm trees and the outro music all the time. I will say this. If any of you guys are runners, I like jog. I say I'm a runner. I'm not. I jog. I go like 2 miles. Like, I'm not getting crazy. I will say the OP and ED for Skate the Infinity, wonderful running music. Gets me in the spirit every time. So with that being said, guys, thank you all so much for joining me. I'm going to edit this live stream, get our drinking game rules up on the community post tomorrow, and talk to you all again soon in our future live streams, and then, of course, in the reactions. But you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for joining me on this and for putting up with my shadow cosplay and doing all that. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. And yeah, I'll talk to you all again very soon. All right. Have a good night and have a good day, guys. See y'all. Bye.